It's time for Shawn and Maya in the morning.
Quick pitch to Walter, looking for the record, cuts back, he's got it, he's out of it at 25 to the 26-yard line. Walter Payton becomes the National Football League all-time leading rusher. Jordan, open, Chicago with the lead. The Chicago Bulls have won their 6th NBA championship. Chicago has won the Stanley Cup. Palmero over the head of Jenks. Uribe charges, throws, out! And the White Sox have won the World Series.
A little bouncer slowly toward Bryant. He will glove it, go to Rizzo.
It's in time, and the Chicago Cubs win the World Series.
What up, what up, what up? Welcome to Shawn and Maya in the morning on this hump day edition. Guys, I'm your boy, the Superback, Shawn Sierra. Thanks for tuning in. Why do I look all crooked? What the fudge crackers is that all about? What? It looks crooked. I don't even know. That's crazy. We'll figure it out later. Guys, because if you watch this on Facebook Live, well, then I guess you found us on Facebook. Now, if you're not following us on Facebook, what are you doing? All right, go to Facebook, type in Sports Zone Chicago, click the like button. That's the thumbs up button, okay? Click the like button, and now you're following Sports Zone Chicago. And while you're at it, you might as well go to our show's Facebook page, Shawn and Maya in the morning, like that as well. And now you're following Shawn and Maya in the morning. If you're watching us on our YouTube channel, that is excellent. Excellent. Okay, and if you're not subscribed to our YouTube channel, what's the problem? What's the problem what your problem is? Okay, go to YouTube, type in Sports Zone Chicago, click the subscribe button, and now you're following Sports Zone Chicago. So in addition to Shawn and Maya in the morning, you get our other 5 live shows throughout the week, and they're all archived there to check out at your leisure. And if you're watching us on the app, that is even more excellenter. Okay, and if you haven't downloaded the app, I don't know what you're doing, what your problem is. Okay, here it is. Go to wherever you get your apps from: iTunes, Google Play, Amazon, Walmart, Kmart, 7-Eleven, Zayre, Zemsky, JCPenney, Marshall Fields, or Macy's. Wherever you get your apps from, you type in Sports Zone Chicago, you download it, you take us with you on the go. So in addition to Shawn and Maya in the morning, 3 days a week, in addition to our other 5 live shows, in addition to them being archived there, it's crazy. In addition to them being archived there, okay, we have a slew, and I mean a slew of articles, thanks to my man, Clarence Council III. Okay, you can also tweet the show. You can tweet us at Sports Zone Shy. That's CHI at Sports Zone Shy. Now, if you want to follow me, just me, personally online, you want to know what I did? Well, let me tell you what I did. You want to know what I did? Here's what I did. I made it nice and easy for you folks. Nice and easy. One handle for Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat. The Snapper, all one handle at the Shawn Sierra. If you want to follow my other co-host, Maya Kai, you can follow her on Facebook and Twitter at the Sports Chica. And if you want to follow her on Instagram because you do it just for the gram, just follow her, Maya_Kai. It's MAYA_AKAI. I'll be remiss if I didn't bring him out. He's the man that makes everything run smoothly here at Sports Zone Chicago. He's the man behind the curtain, the Wiz. Some people call him what I like to call my Puerto Rican Swiss Army knife, Ivan Vargas. What's up, Papa? How are you?
I'm chilling. You sound a little bit better. Still trying to hold back. I see. I mean, try to keep the emotions a little bit tamed. But no, your voice sounds better, so that's good.
That helps. That helps a lot.
It helps. Good morning. Good morning to you. Good morning, everybody. Bulls won. Then I mean, that's a plus.
Yeah, that was a shocker, but we'll
Bulls
take
won.
it.
Bulls pulled it off, but then also there's that Bears issue that look, man, is the sky falling, Shawn?
Well, what Bears issue?
Well, Ryan Poles not being able to pull in Ryan Bates. All these Ryans.
Excuse me.
You know,
I know Bates, Poles, Bates.
Yeah, right. And I mean, I know the business. Like he was restricted. He's a really good guard. There was a lot of talk about the Bills' money, but like this kind of stuff happens. Like I don't see how you go from, hey man, I don't think we're gonna win regardless, to hey, the sky is falling. It's a weird. The Bears fans are insufferable. That's all I could say. It's just like, what do you expect somebody to do? I want it to be his job. I want him to do it his way. And then when he does it his way, it's like, oh, I wanted to do it my way. You should have been like that. I digress. Good morning, everybody. It should be a lot of Bears talk, and a lot more sports talk too. I can't wait till opening day. Opening day's a week away. Ready to go.
It is, and you know what? The Bears talk. It is crazy. Bears fans, we're a different breed. You know what? And it's the meathead Bears fan that we're talking about. You want a guy. You talk about a guy. You want a guy to talk to you about what he's going to do. You want to know his plan. Well, guess what? Ryan Poles has told you what he's going to do. He told you he's not going to spend outrageously. He's going to spend frugal, not frugally. I forgot the word he was going to say. He was going to be very, very deliberate with the money. Okay, he wasn't just going to go spend willy nilly just because it's a big name. Here's what you have to understand, people. Here's what you don't understand, and this is why we're here to educate you. Okay, I'm here to talk to you and let you know, help you become a better and smarter fan. Okay, just because somebody's out on the market and they want X amount of dollars doesn't mean that they're going to fit your system. Okay, it doesn't mean you're going to fit your system. Okay, now Ryan Poles found someone that he feels is going to fit his offensive line system. And that was Ryan Bates. Okay, but he's not the only guy. Here's for those, many of you may or may not have played sports. Okay, when there is someone coming for your job, and there's a lot of question marks around. I could tell this to you from being in an organization or an institution when I had my head coach left after my junior year in college. Okay, there's a lot of unsettling feelings. Okay, and you got to understand that people, they talk about wanting a specific body type. Okay, and it's cool. Okay, but who's to say Tevin Jenkins and Ryan and Larry Borum can't get to that type of body? You've seen what they can do. Okay, on a very small scale, you've seen what they can do. They have a lot of potential. They also had a lot of mistakes. They were rookies. They're rookies. It doesn't mean that they can't be the bookend tackles that the Bears and the Bears fans wanted or anticipated them to be last year. Okay, so you have to, because they're bringing in people or they didn't get the guy they wanted. It doesn't mean that the season is lost. Okay, this could light a fire under Borum, light a fire under Tevin Jenkins. Okay, because people are still talking about it. They're rumors. They're human. They're like us. They hear all this nonsense. They hear Larry Borum hears that he's not he's not very well liked. His play, that isn't very well liked in Hallis Hall. Their body shape isn't received very well by the new administration. They hear all this. They know this. So as professionals, what do you have to do? You have to make adjustments. It's football, and let me tell you something, it's life. You know what? I'm not, just because you go and you sign a guy for 30, 40, 50, 80 million dollars doesn't mean he's going to have a good year. How good was Robert Quinn the first year we got him? How good was Robert Quinn the first year we got him? 2 seasons ago, how good was Robert Quinn? Okay? So just because you pay top dollar doesn't mean you're getting. What if one of them gets hurt? What if your big free agent signing like Robert Quinn was 2 years ago? What if he comes in hurt? Okay, you just want to. Here's the problem with a lot of people. You're more important with the optics. Okay? Who wants to win the offseason? You don't win a Super Bowl in the offseason. Okay? It's done in the regular season. Now, don't get me wrong, the offseason helps. Duh. Okay? But you don't go, we won the offseason, so we're going to win the Super Bowl. No, you're not. It doesn't mean that. It doesn't mean that at all. So we have to understand that they're going after specific types of players. Now, if you know the name, great. If you don't know the name, then you better educate yourself and find out what their talents are. AQM, Al-Qadim Muhammad. Okay? Not a big name, but he fits the system. He's familiar with the system. Okay? He's familiar. And then having a healthy Robert Quinn on the other side is going to help this guy. What if this guy has 9 sacks this year? What if this guy hits double-digit sacks this year? Then you'd be like, oh my God, what a great signing. But you're always like, oh, I don't know who he is. You traded Khalil Mack. And I'm not saying he's going to replace Khalil Mack. I'm not. You can't replace a first ballot Hall of Famer. You can't. Okay? You're going to have to do it with a platoon. So let's sit and wait and see what they do, what else they get, and let Coach Eberflus go to work. All this bitching and moaning about what they're doing, what they're not doing, it's frustrating at times because you have to understand that they're not building the team according to what you think they should do. They're building the team according to the way they think. Okay? And we all can have opinions. Of course we can. But you're not informed. You're not as well informed as they are. Okay? So let's ease up on the new guy. All right? Cornelius, even though the Bears lost Ryan Bates, the fact that the Patriots wanted him proves that Poles is a shrewd evaluator of talent. Okay? If that's the case, then let him go get another guy. And he's not going to sign another guy unless he fits the system. So he's going to use his shrewd evaluatorness to get another guy. It's just the way it works. It's a business. You don't get everybody. And you don't go overpaying people if you don't have to. Right now, the Bears are not one player away. If you're one player away, then you go and you overpay for that guy. If you believe this one guy that if he comes to your squad is going to put you over the top, then that's the dude you go get. But we're not there yet. We're not there yet. You have to understand that you're on Justin Fields' rookie deal. You got 4 years left. Okay? 4 years left to get this thing right. So it's not going to happen in a year. So what you want to do now is you want to get a lot of young talent. And we told you, what was he doing? Everybody he signed was under 28. Trying to get their big contract. Which means they're thirsty. They're hungry. They're motivated. Those are the guys you want. Those are the guys you want. You know why? Because you get these guys. You sign all these free agents to 1 year, 2 year deals. Okay? They're hungry. They're motivated. And what do you do next year? With your full complement of draft picks and probably some compensatory picks in addition to free agency, all of a sudden these guys have competition again. So whatever work they put on tape this year in order to be kept and thought of for next season, okay, now they have to double that. Because now you're bringing in draft picks, you're bringing in other free agents, and it creates a whole wave of competition, which is what you want in football, in baseball, in basketball, in hockey, in life. That's what you want. That's what you want. It brings out the best in everybody, and the cream will rise to the top, as they say. Well, listen, we have a phenomenal show, but we need you to get interactive, man. We got some people, burning up the chat line already. We love it. Cornelius Squalls, good morning, Papa. Hassem, HR, good morning. Vernon Fairley in the house. Michelle Walls in the house. And I can tell you what, I guarantee you we'll have more of the usual suspects tune in as the show goes on. It's going to be one hell of a show. We have a phenomenal lineup for you. Adam Chalifoux at 10 o'clock. He's calling in. And we're going to talk a little Bulls. Bulls with a big dude. Are they listening to Shawn and Maya in the morning? Are they listening to me? I've only been on this soapbox for the last 2 months. Start with Vooch. The offense runs through Vooch.
Hey, maybe they catch him off guard. I know we got Joseph coming up. He's going to talk a lot more about it. But maybe you're absolutely correct. But maybe they've been waiting for this or something to that effect. Maybe this is their secret plan. I doubt it. But Vooch had a good night, man. Be aggressive. Be aggressive. All of them. DeMar's been the most aggressive player we've had, but both Zach and Vooch need to start picking it up, and I think they have. We both seen it.
You're right. And the thing about it is you started off with him. You started off with him. He had 15 in the first. Come on, man. Get him moving. I talked to you about that. I talked to you guys about that. I talked to the Bulls about that. So we're going to talk to Adam Chalifoux at 10 o'clock. At 11 o'clock, our guy from WGN and from GN Sports, Josh Frydman's going to join us. We're going to talk a little Cubs, so Ivan, you're going to be a little happy. We're going to talk a little more Bears with Josh Frydman. Can't wait to talk to Josh. Love talking with him. Josh is another one of those guys. Josh, Jarrett, Eugene from the Bigs, Eugene McIntosh. There are a couple of guys that I like to talk because they're multi-talented. In that they can talk about multiple sports. They're not just pigeonholed in a football or baseball or basketball or hockey. Okay. Yeah. So what would you say, Devon? As much as I've been on Vooch, I can say I like what he did last night. I just wish you would have had more rebounds, hit my parlay. Hey, I ain't mad at you, dog. I ain't mad at you. What, you probably had him a double-double or something? Okay. I hear you. Oh, man. That is hilarious. Because what did Vooch have? Vooch had, he had 27. He dropped 27. He probably had him for a double-double, I would imagine. That's hilarious. So that's the lineup, guys. At 10 o'clock, Adam Chalifoux. At 11 o'clock, we had Josh Frydman. And so you know how it is, guys. The first segment of every show is called Top of the Morning.
Just when you want it. Top of the morning to you. Top of the morning to you. Top of the morning to you.
With the top of the morning segment, you know what that means. We got to bring in our guy. We got to bring in your guy. We got to bring in the guy. He doesn't have any kids in a headlock this morning because he's on spring break, and we love it. He's a guy you find on Twitter at ACA Joe. Let's bring him in, Joseph Phillips. Joseph, what's up, Papa?
What's up, Papa? God bless. How y'all do?
Man, I'm doing wonderful. And yourself?
Excellent.
Enjoying your spring break?
Yes, sir. Beautiful day. And, just couldn't wait to get to this point.
Yeah. First semester of the school year. A little Bismarck key for you.
Man.
I should have asked what that was and given away 2 stickers. Damn it! All right, I'll get another song quote or movie quote. The first time of the morning topics: the Bullies, baby. The Bulls beat the Washington Wizards yesterday, 107-94, down in the nation's capital, in the district. 107-94. As I said, DeMar DeRozan led the way with 32.7 boards. Vucevic did not get a double-double, as Devon Hicks was very upset about that. He dropped in 27. Zach LaVine, 14. Kobe White and Javonte Green each dropped 9. Big win for the Bulls. Now, listen, Joseph, how much more excited would you be had the Bulls beaten the Knicks, and now we're going on a 3-game winning streak coming home?
Well, I predicted the Bulls would lose to the Knicks just because of their inconsistency. Because Knicks is one thing I can say about the Knicks, they always a high energy team. They're gonna play lockdown defense. But there's 4 things I would like to point out. That's the key to Bulls' success if they're gonna go anywhere in the playoffs or even get into a good position when it comes to seeding. Number 1, as I heard you guys talking about earlier, you have to work the offense through Vooch.
Say it again, Joseph. Say it again for those people in the back.
Work the offense through Vooch. And what I mean by that, I'm not talking about high pick and rolls, 3-point shots from Vooch. I'm talking about getting him involved on 5 or 6 straight possessions on several high percentage shots with his back to the basket or on putbacks. I don't want to see no more pick and pop 3-pointers, only if it comes after him scoring on several layup attempts or getting physical in the hole, which pretty much sets his game to be more aggressive. Number 2, just the emergence of Zach LaVine. I know his knees kind of swelling up, but that's a good sign because that means he's been going hard. Because normally when he don't go hard, his knee, doesn't have those problems. But he's been going hard these past couple of games, and we're seeing Zach is giving 100% effort. Number
On a
three,
defensive end too, Joseph. Let's
yeah,
not get
yeah,
it twisted. On a defensive end too. He's
and that's what I
bodying
mean by
people.
100%.
Man,
Like,
that's what I'm talking about, baby.
yeah, that's what I mean by 100%. Because see, people think 100% effort is giving us dynamite 39-point performance, but what I mean by 100% effort is you giving 100% on the defensive end, 100% on the offensive end, and that's going to always lead to good results. Number three, which I think is the most important out of all of these, the Bulls are starting to play good team defense. They're switching on screens. They getting back in time. Now against the Knicks, they kind of broke down because Kobe White mentally, a lot of times he is not mature enough to recognize what I would have to say, meaningful playing meaningful basketball. And also Zach LaVine is another one. He doesn't understand the importance of playing meaningful basketball. So therefore, when it comes to certain possessions, a lot of times they're very careless. But what I'm seeing now, I'm starting to see young guys like Ayo Dosunmu call them out, like a Zach or Kobe on defensive lapses. Even a Patrick Williams, who is not assertive and aggressive enough to even be out there amongst the starters. And then last but not least is just helping DeMar DeRozan understand that you got to pass out the double teams. You can't force issues, okay? Can't force the issue when you got the ball because a lot of times you're missing wide open guys cutting to the basket because you're trying to go one-on-one. That's a bad look. You don't want to be labeled as a chucker, especially with the emergence of Zach LaVine and Vucevic's game. Now it's not the time to be chucking the ball. Swing the ball when you need to swing the ball so that we can get the results that most Chicago fans want, which is a W.
Vooch started off yesterday, 15 points in the first quarter. That's what we're talking about. Okay, that's what we're talking about. And I know Zach didn't have any points in the first half. Who cares? All right, Zach. It is not important for Zach to get off early. It's important for Vooch to get off early. Zach needs to work himself in late first quarter, second quarter. Okay, we know DeMar is the king of the fourth, so we're going to anticipate him getting double digits in the fourth. When you have a three-headed monster like you did yesterday, okay, and I know it's only Zach didn't have very many points, and that's okay.
But he was effective.
But when you have the three-headed monster like you do, it's tough, man. It's tough to beat this team, and you're gonna need all three of those guys performing on the offensive end at a high level. Okay, at a very high level. And the way you do that is the way you did it the last couple of games. Okay, you started with Vooch. Like yesterday was the picture perfect way for this team to win. All these games are going to be tough. Everybody's fighting for playoff spots. People are fighting for, Washington's fighting for a playoff seeding. Okay, who did they play before that? The Knicks. All right, they're just looking to beat people because their season sucks. All right, then you got who we got Miami this Friday. Okay, Miami's looking to they got the Clippers. I'm sorry, the Clippers are tomorrow. You got Miami on Saturday, Milwaukee on Tuesday. They got a nice little clip of tough teams to finish up this season. So what I want to see, here's the thing that really got me excited though, Joseph. I saw, and he didn't have a lot of points, but he was more aggressive, and that's Patrick Williams. Patrick Williams was a lot more aggressive yesterday. No points versus the Knicks, but yesterday he came in.
No shot attempts either. Don't forget that.
Yeah, and so what did I say? We need the last 7 to 10 games for P. Will, and that's what he's got. That's about exactly what he's had, and now he's got to fit in. He's got to get in where he fits in. So him being a little more aggressive, giving us 6 to 10 points a game right now is all we need from him. It's really all you need. Okay, and you keep playing that stellar defense that you play, and then you'll be fine. And I'll like this team's chances in the first round, whether or not Lonzo Ball comes back.
Right. I think this Bulls team just need to take just the cue from the championship Bulls teams from the past. Go watch some old videos. If you have to. I know a lot of this young generation, they don't like going back into the past because they want to get their credit. But at the end of the day, in order for you to move on in the future, you got to know about your past. You got to know about your history. Now, I'm not saying that everybody on the team don't know about Jordan and the Bulls, but if you're playing for the Chicago Bulls organization, your first tutorial should be the attitude of a championship, knowing what it takes to win, and what better blueprint and example that you should have, and that is from that 90s Bulls team. You can learn so many lessons from watching that team on video, on VHS, whatever. Take notes from it.
You said VHS. Some people don't know what that is.
Oh, yeah. I know. I'm throwing it out there.
That's awesome. Hey, listen, we got to take a quick break. And on the other side of the break, we have more top of the morning topics. So don't go anywhere, folks. Keep it locked right here. Shawn and Maya in the morning on Sports Zone Chicago.
AutomotiveMap.com presents the Sports Flash on the Sports Zone Chicago. After losing to the Knicks on Monday night at Madison Square Garden, the Bulls rebounded with a 107-94 win over the Wizards in Washington. DeMar DeRozan had 32 points, Nikola Vucevic with 27, Zach LaVine with 14 points. The Bulls are 44-32 with the win. They went 2-3 on their 5-game road trip. They're back home this Thursday night hosting the LA Clippers. Then on Saturday, big matchup with the Eastern Conference leading Miami Heat. Chicago's 5th in the East, 4 games out of first place. The Blackhawks are winless in 2. They're on the road visiting Florida this Thursday night. After that, they'll head to Tampa on Friday before returning home Sunday against the Arizona Coyotes. The Bears have signed quarterback Trevor Siemian to a 2-year contract. GM Ryan Poles said that Siemian will back up Justin Fields and that he intends to trade Nick Foles. For lightning fast sports updates, download the Score app. It's free and one of the most popular sports apps in North America. I'm Chuck Sanders. That's the Sports Flash on the Sports Zone Chicago.
Welcome to Allstate, where you can save just by being you. DriveWise in the Allstate mobile app gives you personalized driving feedback, and by adding it to your policy, you can save for driving safe just by being yourself. Allstate. Here, better protection costs a whole lot less. You're in good hands with Allstate. Click, call, or visit allstate.com to save today.
Not available in every state. Savings based on DriveWise and other safe driving discounts. Savings vary. Subject to terms and conditions. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
This is a metaphor for your business's journey. Sometimes it feels like the world is throwing everything it has at you. And to succeed, you need someone to guide you through. That's what Dell Technologies advisors do. They have the Windows PCs and tech advice to help you navigate whatever challenges you're up against and get you safely to where you want to be. Call an advisor today at 877-ASK-DELL. That's 877-ASK-DELL. A start to a simpler experience with Windows 11 Pro.
Once he get it going, it makes everybody else's job easier. So just playing through him, he was aggressive out the gate. We lean on that, and we got it going in the second half.
And Bruce, can you take us through what you saw out of DeMar in the second half and what you saw?
Yeah, I mean, he kind of did what he's been doing all year for us. He kind of let the game come to him tonight.
Welcome back to Shawn and Maya in the morning at Sports Zone Chicago. That was DeMar DeRozan and Nikola Vucevic post game yesterday, and you saw what we talked about. DeMar said we got him going early. All right, you get your big man going early. Right. Now they're fired up. Now they play defense. Now you got confidence. This is Joseph. This is what I've been screaming for the last couple of months. All right, and now they're doing it. Okay, now they're doing it. I'll tell you what, Joseph. They're probably not going to win the NBA title this year. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that, okay? But you run that offense through Vooch. You let Caruso continue to play the good defense that he's been playing and setting the tone defensively for this team, okay? And it trickles down to Zach. We saw Zach with good defense yesterday. DeMar, we've seen good defense. Io, we know what Io brings on the defensive end, okay? P. Will, what he's got. We're gonna make some noise. Right. We're going to make some noise, all right? We're not going to win the title this year. We're going to make some noise. And this playoff, this is what we need, though, all right? We need playoff experience. We don't have playoff experience, okay? Right. And this is what we need. These young cast, these guys who are with us, our core moving forward, they need this playoff experience. And here's where Tristan Thompson's experience comes in. Here's where he says, hey, guys, here's what's going to happen. I need you to expect this, this, and this. So when this happens, don't get shell shocked. When this
Right.
happens, don't be a deer in headlights. When this happens, accept it, be ready for it, and here's how you get through it. Those are the type of things that we're going to need from a Tristan Thompson.
Well, we don't need Tristan Thompson. We just need our leaders and like a DeMar DeRozan, who can actually just step up and address the team because he's been proving it. Because Tristan Thompson is just a throw-in guy who we need every now and then to grab a rebound. Other than that, like vocally, I don't think he can be that guy. I think it needs to come from DeMar or it needs to come from a guy like Zach, where these guys have proven and been through the trenches with this team about winning and losing. I understand that he won, but his wins were artificial. He wasn't on a team that really earned anything. They stacked their squad, so he really hasn't faced any adversity. This team is actually trying to do it the right way, organically from the ground up. Pun intended, no shots against who. But we're trying to do it the right way here in Chicago. He needs to get on board and just watch how it's done organically versus being done manufacturally when you got superstars pretty much carrying you. And all you got to do is be the garbage man and pad your stats.
Joseph, man, how can you say that? You're talking about the Cleveland Cavaliers. Weren't they down 3-1?
Oh, yeah.
But hold on. But hold on. But you're down. You talk about. I mean, don't disrespect his championship because he wasn't the main guy. That was LeBron. That was Kyrie. That was Kevin Love. All right,
Exactly.
but he did play a role in that, and don't discount it because you may not like him and LeBron and that whole crew, and say that they didn't face adversity. That was the first time in the history of the NBA that someone's ever come back from 3-1 in the finals to win. And you can talk about the officials helping them out or whatever. You still had to make baskets. You still had to make stops. You still had to whatever it is. Don't disrespect what his championship ring because there are times that they had 3-1. It's difficult. It's difficult. Your Cubs were down 3-1 too. They were down 3-1 as well. So do you want someone to disrespect that as well? So
the Cubs
just let him go ahead. First of all, let him talk about his championship, what it took to come back from 3-1.
We don't want to hear nothing from LeBron's crew. Okay, we want to do it. We got championship examples. Michael and the Bulls. We don't need LeBron.
They're not with us. They're not in the locker room.
No, but they got veterans you can call. You can call veterans. You got Horace Grant. You got Horace Grant there. We don't need
No,
you
keep
need
guys
trying
on
to
your
talk
team.
about these guys like they were great. Like Tristan Thompson is a bum. Like he is not that good. Like I don't know what you see out of him, but he is not effective. Even when he's out there on the floor, like it's like, oh, it went in. Oh, great. Like he is not that effective. Like I know we're trying to make a big thing out of the signing, but I still think we should have traded for Jeremy Grant. I would have preferred him. And I would have traded Patrick Williams because, like you said, he's still not assertive and aggressive enough. Even Billy has said it. Until you get aggressive and assertive enough, then we can start using you, which is a good thing because Patrick, for some reason, he just doesn't want to be aggressive. Now, Tristan Thompson, like I said,
no, some reason he's with a broken wrist he's coming off of. It could be scary, Joseph. If you've ever been in that position where you're coming off a broken wrist, a broken ankle, a broken leg, a broken something, and especially your wrist, you gotta every time you fall, you gotta brace yourself. Unless
but
you fall on
shooting
your
an
shoulder.
air ball layup, bro, there's no excuse for that, bro. An air ball layup on your first possession, okay? You can't do that, bro. No air ball layups. I don't want to see air ball layups, bro.
It happens, bro. It happens. Stop. You're expecting these guys to be perfect. They can't. They're human. They make mistakes, bro. They make mistakes.
Well, some people are who they are, Shawn. You got to think about it. Like Pat Williams, we knew this. We've been saying this all season, Shawn. Will he be aggressive? Has he shown us any of that? I haven't seen any change in his personality or his character. It's still the same Patrick Williams. Yes, every now and then he may be aggressive just because Billy Donovan asked him to be aggressive. Then he reverts back to being passive aggressive, which
he's only played 3-4 games, dude. You act like he's played a whole season. How you gonna come at him like that?
I'm just saying, let somebody punches him in the chest or something like that and get him going. like a Bobby Portis or somebody like that who is aggressive and smack Nico. Somebody that's gonna like send a message to him like you have to be physical. I don't know who that person's gonna be, but he needs a little physical love. How can I put it? Because I could tell he's like a mama's type of guy. You know, like he worked in the flower shop. He delivered flowers for a living. That's what he did. He doesn't have the aggressiveness of a dog. You see what I mean? Like, so he needs to be around some men that's gonna like throw some punches at him, get him physical. You know, and he's already a big body, but sometimes he's afraid to use it. And I'm not trying to go at Patrick Williams, but
You
I
are.
want him
Let's
to do
move
well.
on. You're on. You're coming down on these dudes, man. Like they, I don't even know why they won, and you're coming down like they raped somebody, bro. Relax, dude. Let's take it easy. Well,
I just like to see guys don't give 100% effort. I just hate that. You know.
The next top of the morning topic is the NFL has approved an overtime playoff change. Both teams, and that's only for the playoffs. Both teams will now have at least have one possession in an overtime period. And again, it's only for the playoffs. So at the end of one possession, if they're tied, or whoever has more points at the end of one possession is the winner. And if they're tied at the end of one possession, then the game reverts to a sudden death. People call this the Josh Allen rule. They're calling it. I'm like, no, that's not really fair, because if you remember, Patrick Mahomes lost a game like this last year as well, two seasons prior, excuse me, as well. So don't call it the Josh Allen rule. I just call it whatever you want, but I think this is good. I think it's pretty cool. I think it's good. You know, it's very similar to that of college, and at that point, it's sudden death. You get one possession. If you score 6, you score a tutty, great. All right. If you both score field goals, now next team wins. And you know what? I think it's about time to have that rule amended, which they did, and because it does. It's unfortunate you get, because that adds, Joseph. That'll add to the drama of a game. Okay, you both scored. Okay, you both scored touchdown. Now it's next person win. I think it's long overdue for the NFL to do this, and I'm happy that it was done.
Well, some rules just need to stay the same. I guess this is feedback from people that's been sore losers. At the end of the day, if you lost that way, you lost. You know, it's no changing. That means you got to go all the way back to the history of the NFL to, I guess, like look at some of the losses. You know, not just because of one team suffered. You know, my whole thing is that's their rule. The overtime rule should have stayed the way it is. I didn't think it was nothing wrong with it. You know, like I thought that they've given people enough leeway to capitalize on the coin flip or to capitalize on the possession. You had your opportunity to make a difference and you blew it. You see what I mean? So it's taken away like
But it doesn't. If you don't like Josh Allen didn't get to touch the ball. He didn't get to touch the ball. Patrick Mahomes went down, scored. Josh Allen didn't have a chance. He didn't
which
get
is how it's supposed to be, right? That's how the rules were, right?
But just because that's how the rules were. Yes, you're correct. But just because a rule is in place doesn't mean that it can't be amended or changed to make something better. I think it's better because now you have each team getting a shot. You know, because trust me, put yourself in Josh Allen's spot. If that was 3 games that you lost in overtime because you never got the ball, yeah, that's frustrating. Okay, and it's not as if you're not getting the ball because the other team's better because it's home court advantage. It's just the luck of the draw. It's the luck of the draw of calling a coin flip.
But you got to put a team away before overtime. It's just getting soft, man. You know, like. Bottom line is,
really, Joseph, put them away before overtime.
The NFL is getting soft, man. It's not about your feelings, bro. It's either you do your job over a 4-quarter period, or you take that L in OT. And most people don't let it get to that point, as you saw, you know, with the LA Rams. You know, they handle their business. You take care of your business. Eventually, you're gonna get to the point where you can start winning big games like that. But Buffalo, if they crying like about that game, they had every chance in the world to put that game away. And it shouldn't have taken overtime to put that game away. They could have won that game easily, hands down. It was just a lot of mental errors and mistakes. But don't change the whole rules of the game for one team because they didn't succeed.
They're not doing it for the Buffalo Bills. The Philadelphia Eagles also requested it. And then don't forget, I said the Kansas City Chiefs the year prior, they are in the same situation. It's not just the Buffalo Bills that were complaining about it. It's affected a lot of other teams. It affected a lot of other teams. So you can't say that just the Buffalo Bills. That's why I said, you can't call it the Josh Allen rule. I think that's stupid because
Right.
other teams have suffered and lost that same way.
Yeah. And that's all I'm saying. Like, it just, I
But
didn't think
remember,
it
here's the thing, Joseph. The
Mhm.
NFL's got to you have to make adjustments. You got to make just because you're the number one sport in the world, and I arguably, because definitely in America, doesn't mean you can't make rules better. Doesn't mean you can't adjust certain things. And some of the rules you have, okay, people love, the high powered offenses nowadays. You didn't have to change. You didn't have to change rules to make it easier for offenses to score. But you always you want people engaged. You want people, and what more way to be engaged and say, okay, so now my team's got a shot. So it gets you keeps you more in tune, more focused, more tuned in. If your team's got a shot, it's just a
but
rule.
you can't, Sean, this is the blue ribbon generation, John. And you know it. Everybody can't get a blue ribbon. And I know Oprah has made that like the biggest thing ever. Everybody get a car. You get a car. You get a car. That's not how sports should be ran. Sports is a competition. Okay. Everybody's not going to win. Sometimes you learn from losing. It's okay. You come back and you get better. But if you're constantly giving people all these opportunities when the game has been regulated to end that way, then you have to take advantage of the window of opportunity that you have. And you can't go back and erase that game that Buffalo lost. That's going to go down in history books. And then with this rule change, there's going to be always something else. Somebody's going to complain about this. They're going to say, oh, well, so-and-so should have had an opportunity. That's not fair. Let's change another rule. What I'm saying is that if we continue to legislate the game like this, football is not going to be the same, bro. We're going to be watching soccer, bro. That's all I'm saying.
I don't understand what other this has been proposed for years. It's not as if it's just a one-time deal, Joseph. Because at that particular point, you have your chance. Okay, you have the opportunity to score. Okay, because each team gets possession. So now if you don't score, you lost. If you score and then the other team scores again on their second possession, you lost. It's that simple.
Wasn't it a time, Shawn, during the game, like there was an overtime rule where once you won a coin toss, if you scored, that's it? Wasn't that a rule before all of this stuff took place?
Yes.
That was back in the day, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because there was a time where if you lost a coin toss, that's it for you. And that was whether you scored on a field goal, touchdown, etc. Correct?
Right.
So that made the game actually competitive. Like, it makes you want to play even harder when the rules are much more tougher in OT. Now it's gotten so lenient, it's like, oh, no matter, they can score, our defense can relax, we'll get it back on the next possession. That's kind of wimpy, and I'm just saying that. And then also, I just want to add this. I'm using a basketball analogy like on this same thing. Like, you know how they'd be like, well, Jordan, he never had the scoring record. But the thing they got to understand that just imagine if there wasn't any hand checking in the 90s. Michael would have tripled and he would have destroyed that scoring record because of the legislation of the game and them changing things. A lot of guys are allowed to score much easier. And if you think about it, he dominated in a shorter period of time with hand checking. Just imagine if he did it without hand checking.
But I don't understand what that has to do with this.
Because it's the same thing with this new NFL. It's like you want to give all these passing records to these guys and call them the greatest and all of this, and you can barely touch the quarterback. Then you're giving them overtime rules to benefit more scoring. It's just getting
Joseph,
kind of
but
soft,
it's a different time, Joseph. Things must evolve because you can't stay in the get off my lawn era, okay? Because that's the era we grew up in. The game has evolved, okay? Who was Joe Montana getting $100 million, $150 million? Was Dan Fouts, was Dan Marino, were they getting $500 million? No, you weren't. Okay, they weren't doing that, and that was the way that because the money, the football wasn't that high, wasn't that highly. Wasn't that popular, therefore wasn't as lucrative back then. Dude, now you're getting $500 million quarterbacks. You're getting $200 million quarterbacks. You're getting $175 million quarterbacks. If you're an owner, you want your $175 million quarterback, okay, that you have to pay. You want him injured because you're allowed to go with their knees? You have him injured because he's getting a concussion? You want him injured? No, you don't. And there's other ways you can still take people out of the game physically. You can put your face mask in his chest and bruise his sternum, right? You could put your face mask in his back and bust his kidneys. There's things you can do. Okay, so you talking about, oh, it was different. Yeah, it was different. Okay, but you name me one guy. The bigger, stronger, faster athletes nowadays. You're dealing with quarterbacks. You're getting defensive linemen who are 300 pounds. In the Bears' day, you didn't have 300-pound linemen. The Fridge was an anomaly. That's why Buddy Ryan didn't want him. He's like, he's 300, he's too fat. But the Fridge was an unbelievable athlete. You're getting guys who are bigger, stronger, faster. They have not increased the size of the field. They have not elongated or widened the field. So now I'm getting a guy who, guys weren't hand cleaning 500, 400 pounds years ago. They're hand cleaning 400 pounds on a regular basis. Guys weren't squatting 700 pounds. Guys are squatting 700 pounds now. So you got a 280-pound, a 300-pound guy coming off the corner, hitting a quarterback who's getting paid $150, $200 million. He's out. He's going to hit him in the head. Dude, it's a business. You have to understand that. It is a business. And yes, you can.
What was the foundation of the NFL, Shawn? What is the foundation of the NFL? How did it build its appeal? On what?
Violence.
Violence. That's it. It's nothing else. When you try to make these guys scholars, that's when it becomes a problem.
Who said scholars?
Like you're trying to make it look like these guys are like, oh, it's so scientific. No, it's really simple football. You hit them in the mouth and you keep it moving. Nothing else. Now it's all about this intelligence and analytics and all this stuff and who you're trying to save and who you're trying to protect. And no. If you chose football as a career, be ready to deal with the consequences of it, okay? This is one of the reasons I never chose football as a career because I didn't want my knees destroyed, okay? Because I understood that it was a violent sport. When you try to bring violence and paint it in a light like it's a good thing, bottom line is violence, bro. At the end of the day, whether you try to legislate it, whether you try to put a flower on it, put a rose on it, if somebody punch me in my mouth, it's going to hurt. Bottom line. You can throw how many rules on it, whether you 300 pounds, 400 pounds. I seen 200-pound guys lay licks on big guys, okay? That weight and all that stuff, that's for the fans, okay? You want to applaud that. Oh, he can bench press this. But you weak. As soon as he hits you in the wrong part of your body, you fall into the ground. Bottom line is that I've seen guys get punked on the field. 300 pounders, 400 pounds get punked by little guys. Khalil Mack is a perfect example of that. When he pretty much salad tossing 300 pounds easily.
I don't know about him salad. I don't know about him tossing salads.
Yeah.
That's another conversation. The wrong podcast. All right. But the thing is, you can legislate violence. Okay, you could. You know what? Think of all the people that have had the CTE and things like that. They want to make it to the point where you can still be violent. Okay, but at the expense of what? Okay, don't get me wrong. You act like I didn't play football. You act like I didn't grow up in the era you grew up, or even older. Okay, well, what I'm saying is, yeah, I love those things too. But if you can make the game safer. Okay, not safe, safer, then do it. Okay, because you know what? I would rather have more broken ribs than a concussion and cognitive issues. Okay, why? Because my ribs will heal. Okay, my leg will heal. You get concussions, you get a number of concussions because you're allowed to go at the head. Dude, that's a whole different lifestyle. And I'll tell you what, and football players, most of us, and I wouldn't change a thing. And I've never seen one football player who played back then who said they would do it different. But if you can do that,
game. It's a man's
I
game.
get it,
It's
Joseph.
just like
I
boxing.
get it. But there's
it's just like boxing. If you get in a ring,
Joseph,
with a
but you got to understand, we're not talking boxing because you're going talking basketball. You're talking. No, we don't need that analogy. We're talking
to relate to
for
what you're
football
talking
is this.
about.
For
A
football is
boxer,
this.
it's just like a boxer. You're not going to get into a ring with a boxer.
We understand that, but you can.
It's not happening.
So they haven't legislated boxing.
That's why it's weak. That's why it's weak now. You can't do anything. You can't do anything.
So you're okay with guys dying in the ring? You're okay with guys dying in the ring?
No, I'm not okay. I'm okay with guys being warriors and going out there and fighting to the finish.
All right,
and if
Joseph,
you
get
just
off
so
my
happen
lawn
to
type of
make
guy.
it to the end, then that's your legacy. Okay. Bottom line is either you don't do it or you do it. It's a choice, But these guys.
Well, let's move on. Let's move on because we're getting off topics. You're getting on a soapbox. Those need to be gotten on. Yesterday, the Cubs, the White Sox acquired Adam Hazley from the Phillies for a right-handed prospect. He was a top 10 draft pick back in 2017 who really never lived up to his potential with the Phillies. He started the season last year, then took some time off for personal issues. Could this guy be the answer in right field? I don't know, but this is what he's one of the guys that's getting tossed in the mix. People are not really happy about this signing. Your thoughts about Adam Hazley coming to the South Side? They gave him a prospect, a right-handed pitching prospect. McKinley Moore is a guy that went back to the Phillies.
Wow. Well, like you say, he's a top 10 pick, and just seeing the things that and I know it's only a 1 year thing from the Cubs, but guys like a Patrick Wisdom or a Frank Swindell are a perfect example of late bloomers, or somebody who, eventually caught on later in their minor league career and it finally clicked. So maybe this is an opportunity for is it Hazel? What's his name?
It's Hazley.
For him to rebound. Sometimes a change of scenery can do a lot of great things for a baseball player. And being in the stack lineup with the White Sox, you can actually hide in the midst of that lineup. And as a top 10 pick, you might see a lot of good pitches, and that can change your career around. A good month can change your career around. Getting off to a good hot start can change your career around. So, like I said, every move you guys make up to this point has been a plus. Like even a bad move is a plus for you guys because you're always adding depth. You guys are loaded. I tell you the truth, like you guys can keep stacking. Like y'all don't really need. Y'all just need the guys just to step up that's there. Like to let them flourish. Like y'all don't have to keep adding because it's gonna make it hard for other guys that need to produce in the lineup.
Yeah, I'm not enamored with the signing. I'm not disgusted by it either. He's there for depth. He's there to give. We got a lot of double headers. Give this guy a shot. You talked about him having a change of scenery, and something. You're right. Sometimes it does do players well. It's in any sport. You get out of the place where there's a lot of high expectations. You come here, there's no people asking who, what, they don't even know who he is. Okay, that's fine. He was a former was it the 8th overall pick at one particular point. There's a lot of pressure. All right, there's a lot of pressure, and you hear he doesn't. There's no pressure. They're not asking him to save the franchise. They're not asking him to hit be a 5-tool player. They're not asking him. We have all those guys. You come in, you can develop. The guy's 25. The guy's, man, he's so young. He's about to hit his prime in baseball.
Right.
All right. He's about to hit his prime. What if he does here? What if he does here? What if he is the guy in left field or right field? Or what if they could put him in left field? Now you just put Eloy at DH and put him in left field on occasion. We don't know.
Right.
All right. So the possibility, I don't know I can't grade this trade.
Right.
I can't grade this trade yet because we don't know.
It could turn out to be a blessing in disguise. You never know.
It could be. It could be a bust, and it could be a boom. Who knows? We don't know.
But you guys are stacked. I'll tell you that.
Cool. Hey, Joseph, good stuff. Bye-bye. We'll see you on Friday, all right?
All right. Peace out. God bless.
Go LeBron. Hey, we got to take a quick break. On the other side of the break, we're going to welcome our guy, Adam Chalifoux from the Running with the Bulls podcast and talk about this big Bulls win last night. So don't go anywhere, folks. Adam Chalifoux up next right here on Shawn and Maya in the morning on Sports Zone Chicago.
AutomotiveMap.com presents the Sports Flash on the Sports Zone Chicago. After losing to the Knicks on Monday night at Madison Square Garden, the Bulls rebounded with a 107-94 win over the Wizards in Washington. DeMar DeRozan had 32 points, Nikola Vukovic with 27, Zach LaVine with 14 points. The Bulls are 44-32 with the win. They went 2-3 on their 5-game road trip. They're back home this Thursday night hosting the LA Clippers. Then on Saturday, big matchup with the Eastern Conference leading Miami Heat. Chicago's 5th in the East, 4 games out of first place. The Blackhawks are winless in 2. They're on the road visiting Florida this Thursday night. After that, they'll head to Tampa on Friday before returning home Sunday against the Arizona Coyotes. The Bears have signed quarterback Trevor Siemian to a 2-year contract. GM Ryan Poles said that Siemian will back up Justin Fields and that he intends to trade Nick Foles. For lightning fast sports updates, download the Score app. It's free and one of the most popular sports apps in North America. I'm Chuck Sanders. That's the Sports Flash on the Sports Zone Chicago.
Welcome to Allstate, where you can save just by being you. DriveWise and the Allstate mobile app gives you personalized driving feedback, and by adding it to your policy, you can save for driving safe just by being yourself. Allstate. Here, better protection costs a whole lot less. You're in good hands with Allstate. Click, call, or visit allstate.com to save today.
Not available in every state. Savings based on DriveWise and other safe driving discounts. Savings vary. Subject to terms and conditions. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
This is a metaphor for your business's journey. Sometimes it feels like the world is throwing everything it has at you. And to succeed, you need someone to guide you through. That's what Dell Technologies advisors do. They have the Windows PCs and tech advice to help you navigate whatever challenges you're up against and get you safely to where you want to be. Call an advisor today at 877-ASK-DELL. That's 877-ASK-DELL. A start to a simpler experience with Windows 11 Pro.
Yeah, I mean, he kind of did what he's been doing all year for us. He kind of let the game come to him tonight, and then in the second half, and once he had a little more space, he really started being aggressive, made a lot of big shots, especially down the stretch, and also kind of. Especially in the end when they were blitzing him and double teaming him even before I got to set a screen, he did a great job, finding the open man, and we were able to play out of it. So just I think as always, throughout the season with his experience and his patience on the floor, he helps us, down the stretch a lot.
Welcome back to Shawn and Maya in the morning on Sports Zone Chicago on this Hump Day edition. Guys, I'm your boy, the Superback Shawn. Sierra, thanks for tuning in. We just got done with the first hour of the show. The first segment is called Top of the Morning with Joseph Phillips. Man, you got to love Joseph's takes. Joseph is adamant. I love it. We don't agree on everything, but you know what? That's what sports is about. That's what life is about. You don't agree, and you know what? We're just talking sports. We're not solving the world's problems. Just because Joseph's wrong, it's okay. I can respect that. That's fine. He's entitled to his wrong opinion, and that's cool. I know Joseph's probably watching. I'm busting your balls, Joseph. I'm busting your balls. But our next guest is a guy. He's part of the family. He's the co-host of the creator of the Hoopstradamus podcast. And actually right now he is in Fargo, North Dakota. He's working for KVRR Sports out there. You see him on TV if you're in the Fargo area with his suit and tie every day, or covering a whole bunch of stuff that goes on. And I think he did cow tipping last weekend. It was pretty cool. I just hope he didn't step in a cow pie. But he's the weekend sports anchor up there. You can find him on Twitter at FargoFoo because he is in Fargo, North Dakota. Guys, let's welcome back to Shawn and Maya, our guy, Adam Chalifoux. Adam, what's up, Papa? How are you?
Hey, man, I'm good. You got to start with cow tipping and eventually make your way down to bull tipping, but a long way back to Chicago for now. Always a pleasure coming on, man, and talking some hoops.
Dude, big win by the Bulls yesterday. I'll tell you what, I was very happy, and I've been bitching and moaning about this. It was a 107-94 victory yesterday. Bulls over the Washington Wizards, excuse me. I still like calling them Bullets. But they finally did what I've been bitching about, you and I have been bitching about for months. You start the offense. You run the offense through Vooch. I said, get him the first 5 or 6 touches of the game. He ended up with 15 points in that first quarter. That's exactly what I want this Bulls team to continue doing.
Absolutely, man. I'm actually in the fantasy basketball championship, and I'm in this league that's kind of like fantasy football. So I got to like pick based on matchups. I get one game a week, and for every player. And so I looked at that Wizards matchup, and that is the one I went with Vucevic.
No way, nice.
Yeah, so I was happy about that. You know, the Wizards, not a great front court, but like not a bad one either. You got Porzingis down there now, who also had a real nice game. But I'm right there with you, man. It's great to see them get a little bit more aggressive with him, and he's such a versatile center. And honestly, like, I think that if he was, I know I've said stuff like this before, but if he had a bigger role on the team, he'd be putting up bigger numbers. You know, like he's every bit the player that we traded for, you know. Even if he's only doing like 18 and 11 instead of like 23 and 11, like it's not bad at all for the third offensive option on a team. I love how him and DeMar really play well together in particular. And it'll be exciting, man. That was a quality win. It was a tough loss in New York. That second quarter, New York really flipped the script.
Yeah,
it looked like the Bulls were going to run away, and then all of a sudden the Knicks were kind of the better team for the rest of that basketball game. But it's that time now. We just got a few games till playoffs, and every win really counts, even if it's not against necessarily a playoff team. Like, it's so tight in the East right now that the Bulls really got to be fighting their hearts out to try to get home court advantage, because no matter who they see in that first round, it is going to be a tough battle, man. The East is, I think, it's the best it's been in
years, dude.
At least 10 years.
At least,
like
at
maybe
least
20. Yeah.
Yeah, at least. You know, right now the Bulls are 4 back. They're in 5th. Okay, Miami has the top spot. Milwaukee's a half game back. Boston's a game back. Philly's 1.5 back. We're 4 back. You know, I don't know if we're going to be able to catch Philadelphia. I don't think we will. But you're right. Any team we play, doesn't matter who it is going to be tough. Talk to me.
Yeah.
Speaking of being tough, we need defense. Talk to me about Patrick Williams. Patrick Williams is back. He's a little more aggressive. What have you seen from him? You know, he had no shots or no points against the Knicks, no shot attempts against the Knicks. You know, could that have been a little PTSD? Because that's who he got hurt from, was the Knicks.
Sure, yeah.
Earlier in the season. He was a little more aggressive yesterday. Where does he need to be in the last 6-7 games of the year for you to be confident that this Bulls team can get out of the first round?
Sheesh. You know, I think there's like a lot that goes into it, not just Patrick, but for him, like, I guess these are still some tune-up games, which is a weird thing to say so late in the season. But, you know, that it was October 28th was the injury game against the Knicks. I remember exactly because I was at that game, you know. And so it's been a long time since he's gotten to kind of play. And really, he's missed not just, like, for his personal skill set, this important development time, but it takes a lot of time to build continuity with your teammates in real game situations. And so I want to see him get a little more fluid with the team, develop a little bit more into like a natural fit offensively, which I think he absolutely can. It's just like sometimes when you're not with the team, it's like you just kind of add this other guy, you know. And I think he's still kind of shaking the rust off, and he does look a little bit timid, but hopefully he kind of finds his role within the squad. And in theory, he's really somebody they need right now, especially when you look at a potential first round with the Boston Celtics, or a meeting, whether first round or later round, with the Milwaukee Bucks. Or even a team like Philadelphia, not so much, because I'm thinking about like Tatum and Giannis, right?
Mm-hmm.
But even give give him a look on James Harden. The versatility on the defensive end, it can't be understated or overstated. I think he's huge. And I know this isn't what you asked, but I think the guy I'm really missing right now, and the guy I think the team's not the same team without.
You're damn right.
It's Lonzo Ball, man. They really, really need Lonzo back.
Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah. Because he slows it down, dude. He keeps that's what that's like. That's like having your the lead singer out. You're not having your band conductor out. It's like having your second chair leading, for all you band people, having a guy who's second chair who's actually leading the orchestra. And there's nothing like Lonzo Ball. There's nothing like the first string. And what he does, his defense, his 3-point shooting, his ability to control the pace, his ability to keep the Bulls under control is it's not, you can't quantify it. Okay, it's invaluable what this dude does, and this guy's turned into one hell of a player. And it's unfortunate that his knee hasn't responded the way that we would have liked and the Bulls would have liked, because if you would have had if the Bulls would have been at 100% at full strength, and Patrick Williams comes back and Lonzo Ball comes back, and they get the last 9-10 games to kind of figure it out. Okay, where do you fit in, Pat P. Will? Okay, you do that. Here's where your role is going to be. Lonzo Ball, you get back to the same thing you were doing earlier. Had we had that chance, my outlook for this Bulls team is completely different. I'm very concerned about the first round.
Agree.
Very concerned about it. Doesn't matter who we're playing, because Lonzo Ball is not out. But I'm not as concerned because P. Will's back. He's got to go up against Paul George tomorrow. All right, Paul George just came back. He's going to try and, I got a second-year player. He's trying to get in rhythm, get in sync for the Clippers. And you know what? It's night after night. I think P. Will, him taking on those defensive assignments of the stud on the opposite team, helps him in the flow of the game. And so every night it's going to be somebody. You got Jimmy Butler coming up on Saturday. All right, you got George tomorrow, Jimmy Butler on Saturday. You got Giannis next week. Dude, there's no rest for the weary, and I think him playing good defense is going to help his game offensively. Okay, and that's what we need. You only need 6 to 10 points from him, in my opinion, closer to 10.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, he's an important spacer for sure, and the same thing could be said about Lonzo as well. That spacing, like both those guys make the team better without having to have the basketball in their hands, which is really important considering DeMar and Levine. I mean, they help with spacing as well, but so much of what those guys do is ball dominant. And don't get me wrong, like Lonzo can be ball dominant too, but having those guys who are going to hang out on the corner is going to make things easier for DeMar and Zach, who do have to be the guys who are putting up, high 20s every night in a playoff situation. And, Pat, give me 8 points, 6 rebounds, a block and a steal, and I'll be thrilled,
And good defense.
Exactly. And hound Giannis, make his life tough. But yeah, man, unfortunately, you know me, man, I don't sugarcoat things. I'm scared out of my mind. For the first round. I don't have the Eastern Conference standings in front of me right now, and I know it's all gridlocked. It's changing. Yeah, what's the standings right now?
Right now.
How far the
Miami's in first.
1 through 5.
Miami in first. Milwaukee's a half game back. All right, in second. Boston's a game and a half back in third. Philadelphia is Miami first. Milwaukee a half. Boston a game back in third. Philly's a half back in fourth. And I was about to say the White Sox. And the Bulls, let's talk about Jerry's other team. And the Bulls are 4 back. So I don't think they're going to be able to climb into that 4th spot. That's 2.5 games they got to cover. and they got a tough way to end the season. But that's the top 5 right now. Miami, Milwaukee, Boston, Philly, Chicago.
I do not like the idea of seeing Philly in the first round.
We're gonna, dude.
Yeah, and that scares the crap.
Who do you want,
out of me.
Boston? If Philly leapfrogs Boston and puts Boston in the fourth slot, and then Boston faces us.
Like, you could make a case that the Celtics are the hottest team in the NBA right now.
Yes, you can.
That's a team that was figuring it out most of the year. Now, Robert Williams, I saw, looks like he's got to get surgery. Got some sort of Twitter notification. I didn't read the whole thing, but looks like Robert Williams can be out for a while.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. But even then, the Derek White pickup was huge for them, man, huge. And then Al Horford going back to Boston, really, I think people forgot how good Al Horford was because he was kind of hidden and not really used last year in OKC. But the dude's still a really good basketball player, and his game's really aged pretty gracefully. But then you talk about that Philadelphia matchup, and man, Joel Embiid, he eats the Bulls like Cheerios, man.
Dude,
especially the games when they don't have Vucevic, because then, like, I'm sorry, man, I hate to say it, but Tristan Thompson isn't that good. Like, I think that we know what we were getting out of Tristan Thompson. He's good to have. Like, I'd rather have Tristan Thompson than not have Tristan Thompson. But Tristan Thompson is not the answer. Like, he makes us better. Like, I'll take Tristan Thompson over Tony Bradley. But, like, Tristan Thompson is not the guy you need to, like, even a guy, like, I'm not huge on Hassan Whiteside over in Utah. But, like, even Hassan Whiteside, I'd take over Tristan Thompson. You know, but it terrifies me, the idea of having to stop James Harden with the potential of not having Lonzo Ball, and the idea of having to slow down Joel Embiid, who's playing an MVP caliber season. He's not going to come home with a trophy, but, like, these are two dudes who are playing real well together, and then they got a lot of guys who can get you, man. A lot of good role players, a lot of good shooting. You know, I like Niang was a great pickup for them. Former Iowa State Cyclone by way of the Utah Jazz. And then, you know, Seth Curry's gone, but they got Furkan Korkmaz. You know, it's just like you got this probably the best pick and roll duo in the NBA, and then just shooting all around it. If the Bulls don't have home court, man, I'm not booking any tickets for the second round. I'll say that much.
Guys, we're joined by Adam Chalifoux, the host of the Running with the Bulls podcast, talking Bulls basketball, right here on Shawn and Maya in the morning on Sports Zone Chicago. What do we have to do? Kobe White has been shooting poorly from the field. Last 5 games, he has been atrocious. He was shooting 33% from the field, and he's shooting 26%, 6 for 23 from beyond the arc in the last 5 games. He doesn't have a lot of time to figure this out, and if he's not going to, if he's not going to be giving us that 3-point shot and that energy, this team will really, they might get swept in the first round.
Yeah, man. Like, it just seems like a confidence thing with Kobe always, because it's like he gets streaky, you know. But hey, Ben Gordon went through these stretches too. You know, he would like
Good point.
Go 0 for 9, and then the next game he'd go 8 for 11 from 3. You know, and so I'm hoping he can just kind of like snap out of it. And I feel like that really, it does happen with the best of the best. You know, like Klay Thompson, he'll have these random slumps, but like, damn, if you got somebody to make a jump shot so you live, you know what I mean? Like,
that's a good guy you want.
Is Klay Thompson.
He's on that list, that's for sure.
Save me, bro. You know, but I'm hoping that he can figure it out. Like, I just think that this team's still kind of not like finding their identity, because they have an identity, but they're like, I guess, remembering it. It's just so weird, like, especially for the guards, where you have Ayo, who, hey, man, like, we talked about the negative. Let's talk about the positive. Long term, how good was this for him to be able to have this experience to like sink or swim, and he friggin' swam, man. He swam. He really proved that he can be a huge component to the Bulls' success, that he can be a versatile dude, that I think you can plug in 1 through 3 pretty easily. He's very effective on both sides of the floor. Caruso's back now, but now it's like they're once again trying to figure out like their roles, because it was kind of Io. It was just Io's gig for a long time, especially when, you know, Caruso was out, and then it seemed like he was more the backup point guard over Kobe White. I don't think that there's any like specific thing that needs to change. No like technical thing that needs to change with Kobe, other than he's just got to keep shooting. He's got to keep shooting. You know, like life is so much like basketball, man. And for me, I'll tell you a quick little thing. For me, when I would get slumps in life, I remember when I was in college, like if I was going through a hard time, school's kicking my ass, life's kicking my ass, I used to call it this fortress of solitude. You know, I would go home to my dad's apartment in West Chicago for a weekend. I'd come back refreshed, you know? So whatever Kobe's fortress of solitude is, like Superman's got his, like go there, go do your thing, like go recoup, go get your head on straight. You got a little bit of time, but not a lot, but like just go get yourself where you need to be mentally, because I don't think physically it is anything. I think mentally it's just like a matter of confidence and finding rhythm with the rest of that backcourt. But hey, man, he's like we forget like Kobe is still a real young player. You know, this is what his 3rd year in the NBA. Like,
so he should be could be a senior in college right now.
Exactly. He could be still in the March Madness preparing for a game against Duke right now if he made a few different decisions.
You know, give me your thoughts on Coach Donovan calling out Patrick Williams the other day or yesterday, just saying, hey, listen, we're not going to give him minutes because he was basically saying he's got to earn it. Like, because he's a rookie, you know, he's not his rookie, but, you know, he's a second-year player. We're just not going to give it to him because he was the 4th, 5th overall pick that we had. He's not getting the time just because of that. He's got to earn it. He said he's got to be more aggressive. What do you think about Billy Donovan putting Patrick Williams on Front Street yesterday?
I think it's just another example of a culture of accountability, which is something the Bulls lacked for a long time. We didn't have it with Hoiberg. Boylan didn't know if he wanted to sing Kumbaya or be Bobby Knight half the time. He was a weirdo, you know. And Billy Donovan, this dude he's tough as nails. He demands excellence. And, you know, you just look at all the success he's had as a coach. He doesn't care. He doesn't care who's doing it. Like, the greatest accomplishment I think he's had is those Florida teams. And the cool thing about those Florida teams is they were star-studded without a star. It doesn't matter who's doing it. They just had to win, and they found a way to win. And so there's no one on this team who should have any sense of entitlement. Everyone should have to earn it. And the fact of the matter is he does need to get more aggressive. He does need to kind of like get back into the flow of the game because these games are super important. And there's times like you got to just check your ego at the door. What's more important, wins and losses, or Patrick Williams' feelings? Wins and losses right now. You know, like there's a time and place to be concerned about, you know, like I don't think you ever want to like necessarily coddle guys, but you can cut them some slack maybe. Like if this is earlier in the season and you're like, let's get this guy a little bit longer of a leash. But no, right now, man, the Bulls need to be fighting for their lives to try to get home court advantage for that first round of the playoffs, because it could be the difference between them making it to the second round or not. So absolutely call him out, you know, absolutely make him earn his minutes. And hopefully he responds to that. But all I want Billy Donovan doing is worrying about wins and losses, and also the younger guys on this team, they're going to see this, and that's why it's a cultural thing for me. They're going to see this, and they're going to be like, all right, yeah, I see how it was with P. Will, and I know that's how it's going to be for me too. And so I don't think that they're going to have like Lonzo coming off the bench or anything, but he's going to know when he does come back that it's go time. It's time to be like at my best.
Yeah, I agree. You know, I really, if we could get Patrick Williams to give us double-digit points, 10, 12, maybe 15 on a night, with the defense he played, with him being aggressive, I think that'll go a long way. I think, you know, we're going to see. You know what? Most athletes love being challenged. We're going to find out what this challenge for Patrick Williams is going to do to him. What are you made of? All right, you know, adversity doesn't develop character; it reveals it, and we're going to find out what kind of character Patrick Williams has. Okay, and you know what? I'd have it no other way. I'd have it no your ass on Front Street. You're not doing what we need you to do. You are a stud talent. You are a stud talent. Start playing like it. Sometimes you got to remember who the fuck you are. And sometimes they forget that because you're injured, because you're away from the team, because whatever reason you forget, you got to remember who the fuck you are sometimes. And this is people in sports, and this is in life too. But in Patrick Williams' case, dude, you're a stud. All right, you are a stud. Okay, play like it. And if he does, I'm telling you, this team, he's not going to stop Giannis. He's not going to stop Joel Embiid. But he can contain him. He can be a nuisance. He can cause bad shots. He can cause these things that he can do on a defensive end, and then add 10 to 15 points on the offensive end. He'll be a huge part. So I like you and the rest of Bulls Nation, am anxious to see how he responds to this challenge from Billy Donovan. Because if he responds the way I want him to respond, well, then we have a good shot of getting to the second round, because we got defenders now, right? P. Will's going to be on his game. We have Caruso. I'm sorry, I couldn't think of his name. Caruso. Well, we have Ayo. Okay, and then we saw yesterday Zach playing some great. Dude, Zach was playing some defense yesterday. I was like, oh snap. Okay. Yeah. This is, and maybe it's time. Maybe he realizes it's crunch time. Maybe he, whatever it is. I am happy with the way Zach's effort has been on defense. And one of them said they want to see Zach attack the rim more. I get it, but a lot of that is his knee. Okay, if he's attacking the rim, then he's good. All the times, maybe his knee's bothering him, and that's going to be an issue all season until the offseason so he can get that cleaned up. So, I want to see him attack the rim more as well. But if his knee's hurting him, all right, then he's going to have to settle for jumpers. At least drive to the hole and get a little mid-range game going. You know what I mean? And I'd be happy with Zach. So
one of the things I think helps in that regard is like DeMar DeRozan can do all that stuff too. And so if Zach's not gonna slash as much, you can use DeMar more in that role, because those guys are very similar. I think Zach is the better shooter of the two this season. DeMar's just kind of like broken his own mold, which is amazing to watch. This kind of shooting season he's had. But yeah, man, I agree with you. And it kind of ties into the fact that, like, as exciting as this is, I think the Bulls championship window opens up next year.
Yeah. Because you know what? At the beginning of the season, where'd you have the Bulls pick? Because I said 4 or 5, maybe 6. And they're 4, 5, or 6, somewhere in that thing where it sucks because we were number 1 for a long time. But this is exactly where if we had said, if the Bulls finished 4th, 5th, or 6th, we're happy. Was that the general consensus before the season started?
Pretty much. I had them at 4, 5, or 6. Yeah.
Yeah. And so now they're in at 4, 5, or 6. And, I'm a little upset from the coach's perspective. I'm like, you lost too many games. Because I see all the games they could have won. But truth be told, this is exactly where many Bulls fans had them slated to finish 4th, 5th, or 6th out of the play-in tournament. And they are. So, I guess we got to look at it as a glass half full situation. And they kind of, because guess what? There was never a question of them making the playoffs. That was never in question. It's just
Yeah.
where they were going to be. Just stay out of that play-in tournament is what we wanted, and as they you know, a couple more wins this season, and they're definitely out of that play-in tournament, which is what we want.
Yeah, I think that like the roster of the team, has an identity. It's built beautifully. I certainly don't want to look past the playoffs, you know, but I am just excited. It's in the back of my mind. I want to see what they do in the offseason, like what subtle tweaks they can make. You know, like the retool in air quotes. Like I remember bar packs used the term retool, which was a stupid term and misleading. But in this case, that is what the Bulls need to do. A retool. Like you're not blowing it up by any stretch. You're maintaining the identity of the team, but like what can they do in terms of getting somebody a little bit better than Tristan Thompson, who's not going to be back around? You know, like what is Patrick Williams going to take that next step, or maybe there's going to be another guy who's going to lock down that 4 role, and he's going to be a bona fide star already. The Bulls are in a great place as a franchise in general. I think that like it's so easy to miss the forest for the trees, right? Especially like it's so exciting. Bulls Nation hasn't had a team to really cherish in a really long time since the Thibodeau era. You know, this team's more exciting than any Hoiberg team. But we forget that, you know, like this is still just one season in what's like a greater journey with this core. And so I think it's more important that, you know, the long-term success, I guess the long-term success of this team is more important to me than the short-term this year, because I don't think that they're ready to beat a team like the Bucks. Like I do think that they could beat the Sixers or the Celtics if, like, let's say everybody's healthy and they're playing their best ball. Robert Williams isn't playing. Bulls could take down Boston, but like when you get deeper into it, and then you even have to consider the scary possibility of running into I compare them like to a dark horse in a rainbow jacket, the flashiest dark horse you'll ever see, but the Brooklyn Nets, who might have to get in by way of the play-in, but you know damn well they will.
Yeah.
And you know damn well that they could beat any team in the NBA.
How crazy was it? And I'll let you go after this. How crazy was it, Adam, that the COVID restrictions,
especially if Simmons winds up playing? So the Bulls are at.
How crazy was it, before we let you go, how crazy was it that vaccine restrictions got lifted right about now? So now you have this new this Brooklyn team, 5, 7, 8 games left, where they're at pretty much full strength. You know, depending on when Simmons comes back, but you got Kyrie and KD again now getting to get comfortable playing with each other on a consistent basis. How crazy, how wrong is that if they have to go in the playoff, the play-in? Whoever's in the play-in is like, just might not, shouldn't even show up.
Well, I mean, what's crazy to me is this team is like better than they were with James Harden, even though James Harden's a really good player. Like Seth Curry, the kind of fit Seth Curry is next to Kyrie Irving is a better fit than James Harden next to Kyrie Irving. And then adding this amazing rebounder in Andre Drummond. And I can't figure out like what Steve Nash wants to do with Drummond, because it's like one night he'll get 18 minutes, the next night he'll get 28 minutes. But they really like filled some serious needs they had in that trade, and they're extremely dangerous. Like they had a really bad, ugly stretch this year, but they were hurt. You know, they were hurt. They were dysfunctional. Sounds like Kyrie and James Harden really kind of like hated each other, but now you lift that, and all of a sudden, like, their seeding already wasn't reflective of how good of a team they are. But now it really isn't reflective. Because now you don't even know how many wins they would have had they had Kyrie Irving allowed to play home games all year. And so they are just lurking like a tiger in tall grass, man, waiting to strike. And they're not, no one wants to see them, man. I mean, like, it would be pretty wild to see a second round or a first round series after the play-in, right, of the Miami Heat against the Brooklyn Nets.
And the Nets win. And the Nets win.
Yeah.
And but here's the crazy part. Kyrie's got fresh legs. Okay? Kyrie's got fresh legs. Like, you can sit there and do load management and shit for like for Jimmy Butler and all those guys now, but you've already had all the tread on your tires is gone for this season. You got to gut it out.
Yeah.
Kyrie's got tread on the tires, dude. Kyrie's only played half the games up to this point.
And Kyrie he's pissed. Like, Kyrie,
yeah.
I think he's mad at the world right now. You know, he doesn't like how he's been treated. He doesn't like how this whole thing's been handled. He's had that spotlight on him. And I think you're seeing that pent-up aggression. It's showing on the basketball court, man. He's coming for throats.
For blood, yeah.
And, and I think Kyrie Irving is one of the most, like, as far as pure skill goes, he's one of the greatest players of all time. Like, he's in the top 5 ball handlers easy. He's one of the greatest finishers in the league as far as, like, body control, finishing those layups. Like, that dude is, like, we forget how insanely good he is because he's, like, played with other guys who are actually, like, better. Like Kevin Durant or LeBron James. But, like, Kyrie is that dude. And Kyrie will bust you for 60 points if you don't lock him up. And so, the fact that he has fresh legs and the eye of the tiger right now,
not a good sign.
Should be scared of Brooklyn. Yeah.
Not a good sign right now for the rest of the East. Hey, Adam, great stuff, buddy. I appreciate it, Papa. We'll be in touch soon, all right?
Sounds great, man. Thanks as always. Love coming on, man.
All right, we'll talk later. Thanks. Guys, that's Adam Chalifoux from the Running with the Bulls podcast. He's on his way to work up at in Fargo, North Dakota, KVRR. Up there, we appreciate his time. I know it's I appreciate it. We all got lives, man. We all got lives, and I appreciate when people give me their time. Is one thing you can never get back, and trust me, I am not lost in that fact, and I truly appreciate it. Let's take a quick break, and then the other side of the break, we'll talk a little more Bulls. We got the NCAA tournament coming up this weekend, the Final Four, and Coach K is I think it's a storybook ending, even if they lose. But what if they win? What if they win? Talk a little NCAA and then some more Bulls on the other side of the break. And don't forget, at the top of the hour, our guy Josh Frydman from WGN Sports, GN Sports as well, is going to come on. We're going to talk a little Cubs baseball. What are they going to do? What can they expect? And we're going to talk a little Bears. All right, it just seems like they are doing. They're doing what they're saying they're going to do, and I don't understand why people have a problem with that. I don't understand why people have a problem with that. They told you what they're going to do. They laid it out to you in no uncertain terms. They're doing it, and then people are complaining. That just goes to show you people want to bitch and moan just to bitch and moan. Okay? Especially after the last regime, who very rarely came through on the promises that they made. Very, very rarely. Now we're getting it's like a woman who's been in bad relationships where she's been lied to, she's been doing this, and then a guy tells her the truth and she doesn't believe him. Well, it's PTSD. You know, you're just going off of your experience, and your experience is that no one's ever told you the truth. No one's ever told us the truth when it comes to the Bears. They've lied, they've hidden stuff. Okay, they've been dishonest. Okay, didn't follow through. Now we're getting a guy that does what he says he does. It's like, what's wrong with you? Why are you doing what you said you're going to do? The hell's wrong with you? Why are you not spending a whole bunch of money like you said you weren't? Bears fans are something else. We're gonna talk more about that on the other side of the break. So don't go anywhere, folks. Keep it locked right here. Shawn and Maya in the morning on Sports Zone Chicago.
AutomotiveMap.com presents the Sports Flash on the Sports Zone Chicago. After losing to the Knicks on Monday night at Madison Square Garden, the Bulls rebounded with a 107-94 win over the Wizards in Washington. DeMar DeRozan had 32 points, Nikola Vukovic with 27, Zach LaVine with 14 points. The Bulls are 44-32 with the win. They went 2-3 on their 5-game road trip. They're back home this Thursday night hosting the LA Clippers. Then on Saturday, big matchup with the Eastern Conference leading Miami Heat. Chicago's 5th in the East, 4 games out of first place. The Blackhawks are winless in 2. They're on the road visiting Florida this Thursday night. After that, they'll head to Tampa on Friday before returning home Sunday against the Arizona Coyotes. The Bears have signed quarterback Trevor Siemian to a 2-year contract. GM Ryan Poles said that Siemian will back up Justin Fields and that he intends to trade Nick Foles. For lightning fast sports updates, download the Score app. It's free and one of the most popular sports apps in North America. I'm Chuck Sanders. That's the Sports Flash on the Sports Zone Chicago.
Welcome to Allstate, where you can save just by being you. DriveWise in the Allstate mobile app gives you personalized driving feedback, and by adding it to your policy, you can save for driving safe just by being yourself. Allstate. Here, better protection costs a whole lot less. You're in good hands with Allstate. Click, call, or visit allstate.com to save today.
Not available in every state. Savings based on DriveWise and other safe driving discounts. Savings vary. Subject to terms and conditions. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
This is a metaphor for your business's journey. Sometimes it feels like the world is throwing everything it has at you. And to succeed, you need someone to guide you through. That's what Dell Technologies advisors do. They have the Windows PCs and tech advice to help you navigate whatever challenges you're up against and get you safely to where you want to be. Call an advisor today at 877-ASK-DELL. That's 877-ASK-DELL. A start to a simpler experience with Windows 11 Pro.
Morning, at the breakfast meeting, just trying to get him going early. I thought we had an opportunity to, kind of play through him out of the post there in the first half. I thought to close the second quarter, they started trapping him to get the ball in his hand. So he, obviously he's not going to be as effective when they're sending two to him, but he passed it out of the post. I thought he got off to obviously a great start and really carried us in the first half offensively because we really struggled to shoot the ball in that first half. And I think his 20 points were really important going into the locker room.
Welcome back to Shawn and Maya in the morning at Sports Zone Chicago on this Hump Day edition. Man, look at this. It's supposed to be 65, 63 today in the Shy. Little rain. It's okay. Now you don't got to wash your car. It's okay. I love it. I love it. I love it. You know what? Today's the kind of day where you want to, if you don't have to work, you want to take a nap with the window open and the rain falling. Yeah. Oh yeah. If you got to work, well, I get it. It sucks, but you know what? That's life. That's life. We got a clip from Billy Donovan. I wanted us to play. So let's check this out.
Trying to get him going early. I thought we had an opportunity to, kind of play through him out of the post there in the first half. I thought to close the second quarter, they started trapping him to get the ball in his hand. So he, obviously he's not going to be as effective when they're sending two to him, but he passed it out of the post. I thought he got off to obviously a great start and really carried us in the first half offensively because we really struggled to shoot the ball in that first half. And I think his 20 points were really important going into the locker room.
Billy Donovan, I'm liking what he's doing. Okay, we've talked about what I wanted him to do for months. And the last couple of games, it seems like that's what they're doing. And I'll tell you what, if they continue to do that, we're good. We're going to be good. Okay. One of the things that I want them to do is I don't want them to lose sight of that. Okay. When things are tough, run the ball through Vooch. And I know you want DeMar getting up there, but then the offense stops. Okay. And DeMar's been doing a good job. But here's the thing that I'm telling you. It doesn't. When Vooch has the ball, now you have to follow DeMar. Now you got DeMar on the move. Now you have Zach on the move. Now you got Kobe White on the move. Now you got Alex Caruso on the move. Okay. The ability for Vooch to pass is second to none when it comes to big men. Okay. So now you said balls, you said screens. Okay. Have guys come off screens, have Vooch hit the open guy, and if not, have him go to work. Just because DeMar is the king of the fourth and Zach playing for a big contract doesn't mean that Zach or DeMar has to take a tough shot in the fourth quarter. You know, the one thing that I love and I love for them to do, and I want them to do it more, is you get Vooch, get him a high screen, and then get his ass down low. All right, Stacy says it all the time. I love this saying, mouse in the house. I love that saying. What else does Stacy say? Sometimes it's just it's an easy game. It's an easy game. Right? You get Vooch with a high screen, for Kobe White, for Alex Caruso, for DeMar, for Zach, and then roll to the basket. The hell with your pick and pop. Okay, pick and roll. Get you a 6'7" guy, 6'5" guy, 6'3" guy. On Vooch, he's got no shot. The defender has no shot. Okay, now he rolls to the basket. Now he's on Vooch's back, and there's nothing you can do. And if they collapse, Vooch kicks it out. Keep doing that. Keep doing that. Okay, when the time comes in the fourth quarter when you need a bucket, set a high screen with Vooch, and he's got to dive to the basket. He's got to. If he doesn't get it, come back out. Now set a pick for one of the guys in the wings. All right, whether it's DeMar, whether it's Zach, whether it's Kobe. All right, pull your guy out. All right, Billy Donovan's got to do a much better job of keeping that offense flowing. Because when it's flowing, it's tough. When you give the ball to DeMar, guess what? DeMar's going to shoot it most of the time. And he's got to learn how to pass better. He's kind of pissing me off a little bit sometimes. Okay? Because that's not going to work in the playoffs. That's not going to work in the playoffs. But, you got a day off today. I don't know if they're practicing today. Okay? But you got the Clippers coming to town. Paul George just came back last night. All right? Paul George just came back last night. All right, are you ready for this? Patrick Williams, are you ready? We're gonna find out. You're gonna find out. Yeah, the Utah Clippers game was late. I didn't get the box score on that. But what did Paul George have? Did you see what he had, Ivan? I didn't check. I'll check right now. Paul George, returns. Yeah. Oh, I'd love to see what he had. Here we go. Give me a second. It's coming up. Oh, where'd you go, you son of a biscuit? Yeah, it's not giving it to me. The Clippers. It's not even telling me. Oh, they're asking for that game. Oh, that's why, because it was on the other game. Here we go. We got the box. Paul George. Whoa. 34 points last night for Paul George. 50% from the field. 10 of 20. 6 for 9 from the anti-arc. 2 boards. 6 assists. Yeah, he looks like he's ready to go. Patrick Williams, Got to go to work. You got to go to work. You got to go to work. Wow. But this is what you right now. This is what you got to do, Papa. This is where you get in. You get in where you fit in. Patrick Williams, Paul George, 34 points. Man. Well, NCAA tournament, the Final Four is this weekend. And Coach K's last run. Coach K's last run. You know, it's crazy. Was it 13 Final Fours? You know, just passed John Wooden, who had 12. Love him or hate him, Coach K, I would say, without question, is the best coach in history of college basketball. You know, doesn't mean he's got the best team this year. Don't get me wrong. You know, what I think what is so cool about this is that he's facing his arch rival, North Carolina. Okay. Do you realize since 1981, North Carolina and Duke have played 99 times? 99 times. Your son's been asked for school 99 times, Mrs. Bueller. I'm kidding. Do you know what the record is? Do you know what the record is in those 99 games? 50-49. 50-49 Duke. You talk about couldn't get any more even. 50-49 in head-to-head matchups since 1981. Duke with a one-game lead. Now, how much do you think Hubert Davis would love to spoil Coach K's Final Four run? He spoiled his last home game. If you recall. North Carolina beat Duke at Duke in Coach K's last home game. So if you already know. You already know Coach K, he's going to use that as motivation for his players. And if you're his players, you better use that as motivation on yourself. You want to go out? You have this class, and here's the one thing that they have to understand. You have the ability to do something that no other team has done in the history of Duke. And that's to win the national championship in Coach K's last year. No other team could have done it. No other team could have done it. You will go down in history, especially in Duke history. But you will be talked about. And you won't be the greatest Duke team ever. But you will have one distinction that no other team. And you know, Duke has a long and storied program. They're one of the blue bloods of college basketball. Long and storied history. And you'll have a feather in your hat that no other team can lay claim to. None. It's not going to be easy. Duke just lost to North Carolina. Are they pissed? If I'm Coach K, I am. If I'm his players, I am. If I'm North Carolina, I'm fired up. I am fired up to end Coach K's Duke era. His reign will be over. For you to ruin his final regular season game at Cameron Indoor Stadium and to ruin his Final Four bid, that'd be a feather in your cap, North Carolina. But let's not get it twisted. One or the other, you got to remember there's another team as well, or another bracket as well. Okay, you're forgetting about Villanova, Kansas. I think I want to say Kansas in this game. I do. But God bless it. Villanova is a team that just doesn't hurt themselves. Villanova is a team. There's another RG Diacono. His brother now is on Villanova squad. Villanova, goodness gracious, what was their one of their star players just got hurt. That's going to be huge. I can't think of. That's going to be huge for Villanova, which might make it easier for Kansas to get through. But Jay Wright, he's won the tournament in 2016 NCAA title. He won a tournament in 2018. He's a good coach. Let's not get it twisted. His teams are well prepared. Okay. You also have to remember he's gotten guys in the NBA who really might not belong in the NBA because of their play in the tournament, because he's got them prepared, because as a team, you have different roles. And you have guys who are willing to lay it all on the line, who are willing to take the big shot. And NBA teams love that. They love it. You got to be fearless. It's the NBA is an alpha sport as well, alpha male sport as well. Not as much as football, but nonetheless. Are you willing to shrink in the big moments, or do you thrive in them? That's what NBA teams and scouts look for. So it's going to be interesting this weekend, Saturday and Monday. It's going to be interesting. Can Arizona pull it off? Not Arizona. Kansas. I don't know where did I say Arizona for? What the hell is that all about? Villanova, Kansas. That's a game. Duke, UNC. That's a game. This is what we want. This is the madness they're talking about. Who do you have? Because I know your brackets are busted. Your brackets have been busted to shit, aren't they? Luckily for me, I didn't go dancing this year. I didn't fill out a bracket like Ken. I didn't fill out a bracket. Hubert Davis, how would this win propel you and your program? Okay. Hubert Davis is the head coach of North Carolina. How does this affect him and the North Carolina program moving forward? The evil emperor is gone in Coach K. He'll still be around. Trust me, he'll have a job at Duke forever. Forever. He'll be an advisor, or he'll be a check collector. Just a guy who collects $1 million checks. That's what he'll be. But the Coach K era will be over, and it would happen at the hands of Hubert Davis. Now, mind you, I don't like Hubert Davis. I still, it wasn't even his fault. Don't get me wrong. But back in '94, that bullshit call with Hubert Davis and Scottie Pippen. Okay. That horseshit call. And I just forgot the name of the ref. And it was, Hugh Hollins. With that bullshit call where Hubert Davis was attempting a three, and he said Scottie fouled him and gave him 3 shots. If he doesn't make that call, guess what? The Bulls are going to the finals without Michael. Bulls are going to the finals without Michael. So it was Hubert Davis on that shot, and I've never really liked Hubert Davis after that. It wasn't his fault. He didn't make the call. Hugh Hollins made the call. But ever since then, I never liked Hubert Davis. Never liked him since then. It's pissed me off. Because that would have been something if the Bulls got back to the finals without Mike, led by Scotty.
You know, gambling in the NBA wasn't exposed until a little bit later. So I'm just saying, I'm just throwing it out there. I know it's a long time ago, move on, but I'm just letting you know it wasn't brought to light as much as it was back in the early 2000s when they started figuring it out.
Oh man, you ain't lying, dude. But listen, we got to take a quick break, and on the other side of the break, our good friend Josh Frydman is going to join us. We're going to talk a little Cubs baseball. What kind of year is this for the Cubs? Rebuild, retool. What are they doing? Who are they getting beside Marcus Stroman to put asses in the seats? Because he only pitches once every fifth day. So what are they doing over there in Wrigleyville? It's going to keep the Northsiders interested. And now we're going to talk a little Bears with him. All right. Why isn't Ryan Pohl spending money? All right. He told us he wasn't, but he's doing exactly what he said. Why is he doing exactly what he said he was going to do? We're not used to that as Bear fans. The hell's wrong with this guy? We're going to talk to Josh Frydman on the other side of the break, so don't go anywhere, folks. Keep it locked right here in the morning on Sports Zone Chicago.
AutomotiveMap.com presents the Sports Flash on the Sports Zone Chicago. After losing to the Knicks on Monday night at Madison Square Garden, the Bulls rebounded with a 107-94 win over the Wizards in Washington. DeMar DeRozan had 32 points, Nikola Vukovic with 27, Zach LaVine with 14 points. The Bulls are 44-32 with the win. They went 2-3 on their 5-game road trip. They're back home this Thursday night hosting the LA Clippers. Then on Saturday, big matchup with the Eastern Conference leading Miami Heat. Chicago's 5th in the East, 4 games out of first place. The Blackhawks are winless in 2. They're on the road visiting Florida this Thursday night. After that, they'll head to Tampa on Friday before returning home Sunday against the Arizona Coyotes. The Bears have signed quarterback Trevor Siemian to a 2-year contract. GM Ryan Pohl said that Siemian will back up Justin Fields and that he intends to trade Nick Foles. For lightning fast sports updates, download the Score app. It's free and one of the most popular sports apps in North America. I'm Chuck Sanders. That's the Sports Flash on the Sports Zone Chicago.
Welcome to Allstate, where you can save just by being you. DriveWise in the Allstate mobile app gives you personalized driving feedback, and by adding it to your policy, you can save for driving safe just by being yourself. Allstate. Here, better protection costs a whole lot less. You're in good hands with Allstate. Click, call, or visit allstate.com to save today.
Not available in every state. Savings based on DriveWise and other safe driving discounts. Savings vary. Subject to terms and conditions. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
This is a metaphor for your business's journey. Sometimes it feels like the world is throwing everything it has at you. And to succeed, you need someone to guide you through. That's what Dell Technologies advisors do. They have the Windows PCs and tech advice to help you navigate whatever challenges you're up against and get you safely to where you want to be. Call an advisor today at 877-ASK-DELL. That's 877-ASK-DELL. A start to a simpler experience with Windows 11 Pro.
Welcome back to Shawn and Maya in the morning on Sports Zone Chicago on this Hump Day edition, guys. I'm your boy, the Superback, Shawn Sierra, and I'm fired up. What a phenomenal day. I know it's rainy. I know it's gloomy out there. I'm looking out the window. It's raining, but you know what? Who cares? All right. You woke up this morning. That made it a great day. All right. Be thankful. Be thankful. Enjoy it. Because you don't know when it's our time to go. Well, my next guest, good friend of the program. And, he's been rocking with us for years. He is the sports anchor and reporter for WGN News and GN Sports. Just got back from Arizona. And no, I'm not jealous at all. You can find him on Twitter at Josh_Frydman. Guys, let's welcome back to Shawn and Maya, Josh Frydman. Josh, what's up, buddy? How are you?
I'm good, Shawn. I love your optimism, by the way. And yeah, it was a little bit more optimistic when you wake up in Arizona and it's 75, 80 degrees, sunny. It's by 9 a.m. It gets
not a cloud in the
hot
sky
there, midday, but I had no complaints. So yeah, I made a lot of my colleagues jealous when I would appear on the GN Sports Show at nights next to a fireplace or a pool. And I'm in
cactus behind
polo,
you with the
short
sun.
sleeves, hanging out, just enjoying the desert life.
You know what? I hope just because that I'm so pissed at you. I hope you got a farmer's tan.
I'm usually pretty pale, so I needed any type of tan. But I'm one of those guys that not lathers on, but my sunscreen on. My wife is terrible about it. I have to remind her. She gets burnt to a crisp every time she goes outside because she doesn't like to put on sunscreen. So I always kind of get on her because of that. So yeah, I try not to get burnt. One time I learned the hard way when I was in North Carolina one summer and was out on the beach for like a couple hours, came back, and I've never been more red like a lobster in my life. And it hurts. You know it is. It stings. You know it is.
Dude, that's insane. Well, what else could hurt this year is the Cubs season. The Cub fans, it's a rebuild, retool. Not exactly sure what you want to call it over there. There's a lot going on up there in Clark and Addison, and I'm not taking shots at them. They're just in a transition period. As much as I would like to take a shot at them, being a Sox fan, that's probably the best way. The best.
Look at these shots left and right, Shawn.
Hey, that's from my producer, and he's a diehard Cub fan.
I have to be an equal opportunist, Josh. I can't. Trust me. I get the Sox as much as I give it to the Cubs. I got to be.
All right, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, he's got Eloy in the net all the time. Like, dude, stop. That's horrible. But stop. So what do you see with this team now? I mean, there's really no big names on there. I mean, unless you call Marcus Stroman that one, but he pitches once every fifth day. What are they going to do? Who are they trying to get to put asses in the seats? I mean, Wilson Contreras, and he's not happy. He wants to be out of there. What's going on up there, Clark and Addison, and what can fans expect this year?
Well, Shawn, the one name is Seiya Suzuki, and that is the guy that will put butts in seats, especially if he performs. You don't give a guy a 5-year, $85 million contract that's never played a single game in the major leagues before unless you believe in him. So that is, aside from Marcus Stroman, Jed Hoyer's big moves this offseason, and they have been very active kind of, on the periphery, signing guys to one-year deals, whether that's and Simmons or Chris Martin or other guys in the bullpen. I mean, they have spent money this offseason. I think a little surprising in my eyes, just how much they have tried. Now, will it immediately pay dividends on the field this year? I don't think so. Look at this team. You look at this roster, and to me, it's around a 75-win, 80-win ball club. Maybe things break right, and you can sniff that extra playoff spot. And that's the thing this year with that sixth playoff team. You're probably going to get a squad that's around 500, 81 wins, 82 wins, might get you that last playoff spot, deserving or not. So could the Cubs be in that conversation in a National League that is pretty top heavy when you look at the Braves and the Dodgers, and I'll put the Brewers in that conversation, the Mets if they stay healthy. But you have a pretty wide middle to lower class of the National League. Division is not that good. You saw the Reds start to sell off. Cardinals didn't really spend any money off season. The Pirates are the Pirates. So you can make an argument next to the Cardinals. The Cubs are right there at 2-3. I don't think that would be good as a roster as St. Louis, but there's a sizable gap to me between Milwaukee and those teams. And then you got a lot of bottom feeders, whether it's the Diamondbacks or the Rockies. The Marlins should be a little bit better this season. So to me, I see the Cubs as that middling team. I don't think you're going to get that true rebuild that we saw when Theo Epstein took over in 2010, 2011, 2012. That's not going to happen. That's not what Jed Hoyer wants to do. It's not what he says he's going to do. It's not, frankly, what Cubs fans can stomach right now. So it's kind of more that retool. And by signing a guy like Suzuki to 5 years, that tells Cubs fans that, hey, we're not just thinking about, improving this season, but we think we're going to be good in a couple years because we have some cornerstones. Now, who else is on that roster is going to be the question, because you mentioned Wilson Contreras. He's got 1 year left. Let's see if they can reach out an extension. Kyle Hendricks is nearing the end of his extension. There really aren't a lot of guys that are signed past 2023.
Yeah, so you talked about Seiya, correct? Seiya Suzuki.
Yes, you say yeah, I say yes. Say yes.
So Seiya. So I'm looking for him. So he's hitless. He did get hit by pitch. He did score a run, but he hasn't gotten a hit yet. I think that'll be one thing to check off the box. Check the box for him is to do that. What about this bullpen? Is there anything to look for in this bullpen, or can we, because I don't know what the roster, truth be told. like the rotation? You got Stroman, you got Hendricks, I like Mills maybe, but then how's this bullpen, rounding out, shaping up? Can they sustain some good starts from Hendricks, from the professor, from Stroman? How's this bullpen? What are they doing down there for the bullpen?
Well, to speak to the starting point, Kyle Hendricks coming off a down season, let's face it, not the caliber that we've known from the professor. So does he have a bounce back in him? Marcus Stroman, I would say is a prototypical number 2, number 3 in your rotation. If Kyle Hendricks is back to his normal self, you got a pretty good 1-2 at the top. Wade Miley is the number 3, kind of an under the radar acquisition that they picked up. I believe he was placed on waivers by Cincinnati before the lockout. So a guy they gave 1 year, $10 million to. He's a veteran. He actually pitched pretty well against the Cubs last season. And a guy who's going to give you innings, but hasn't had the normal start like a lot of pitchers to spring training, Shawn, where he has not really began his full pitching regimens, and he's behind schedule a little bit. So will he be ready by opening day? I think they're kind of looking at maybe making him the 5th starter to start, just pushing him back. And with off days built in the first few series, they can give him another maybe week or so before he gets. Then the back end of the rotation is really Adbert Alzolay is hurt. He, I believe, had, I think it's a lat injury. He's out for the foreseeable future. So he was going to be that 4th or 5th starter next to probably Alec Mills. But at this point, he's not going to be in the rotation. So is it a guy like Justin Steele, who we've seen a couple times pitch decently in the spring training Cactus League action so far? We saw him at times last season show his promise. Is it going to be a guy like Keegan Thompson? Another young pitcher that they need to figure out, is he a long-term starter or a pen piece? Drew Smiley, who the Cubs gave a shot to a couple years ago coming off Tommy John surgery, never actually pitched for the Cubs. He's back on the team. Could be another guy to look out for. So there are question marks when it comes to the last few spots in the rotation. And, we were talking to Tommy Hotovy. I was mainly at White Sox camp in Arizona, but Dan Roan was doing Cubs, and, we would correspond a lot. And Dan did one-on-one with Tommy Hotovy, the pitching coach, and basically said, how can you have a competition for these last few rotation spots when there's just 3 weeks of training camp? And he's like, it's a great question, because we're going to try to even look at it that way. We just want guys to get ready and ramped up for the season, and then we'll kind of decide in the first few weeks, if not first month of the season, where pieces fit. So you could see, guys go 3-4 innings and then piggybacks, and then see how long they get stretched, especially for those young pitchers. That's what they're most worried about. And as far as the bullpen, it's unfortunate that Cody Hoyer, one of the pieces they got back from the White Sox, on Tommy John surgery. So obviously he's out for the season. They just picked up Michael Gibbons. I mentioned Chris Martin, Daniel Norris. Just looking at a couple guys because they have really revamped David Robertson, another former White Sox pitcher, revamped this bullpen. A lot of names that have been, on teams recently. Gibbons was on the Orioles and the Reds. He could be a closer. Another to keep an eye on, Rowan Wick, who had a great season 2 years ago. Started off last year, injured, never really got back fully to that closer spot. If he is right, could be that 9th inning guy. But yeah, the bullpen, always a concern, Shawn, and I think it's more of a piecemeal approach that they're going to go with. A lot of guys on short contracts, pickups to see who fits.
Guys, we're joined by Josh Frydman from WGN Sports and GN Sports, talking little Cubs baseball right here on Shawn and Maya in the morning on Sports Zone Chicago. Do you foresee a lot of shorter outings to avoid injury, because pitchers and catchers didn't have their normal time, get out there, long toss, and literally they're out there in February, all right, in the game, so they're out there before the regular players get in. So their regiment, and being a professional athlete, let me tell you, your body is used to you doing a certain thing at this particular time every year, and when it's not, and you throw things out of whack, it can cause a lot of problems. Do you see a lot of short innings, especially in the beginning for some of the pitchers, and then having that bullpen come in, because that's the last thing you want is to have a Marcus Stroman or a Kyle Hendricks, go out with a lat injury or any kind of injury because they haven't properly prepared for the season?
Yeah, I mean, being in Arizona for over a week with teams, it was very, very, very telling that almost everybody, whether it was Tarusa, Rick Hahn, David Ross on the Cubs side, Jed Hoyer, their number one concern was pitching. That's all they would talk about, basically. We need more arms. We need to be making sure that we take guys slowly, especially some of the young pitchers. Because, look, Lance Lynn, he's ready. He could probably throw 6-7 innings tomorrow.
Yeah.
Luis Giolito, he bulked up, put 20 pounds of muscle on this offseason. He looks really good. I bet he's ready to go and throw 6-7 innings if needed to. But you have guys like Michael Kopech, who was yet to throw to live batters in a spring training back in the field situation. He hasn't pitched in a game yet. And he's expected to be your 4th or 5th starter in the rotation. So that's concerning. You have someone like Liam Hendricks, who told us right away, if you're not ready this season, in kind of pitching, talking broadly about players in general, if you didn't train this offseason to put yourself in the best position to be ready, that's on you. So he took the approach where he was finding ball fields wherever he could in the Desert Valley. He would go up and find fields outside, but mainly indoor facilities. And the White Sox facility obviously was close to all the players. So he would, with some of his teammates, wherever they can get a mound and a rubber, if they could, throw and stay loose and stay as best they could on their normal off-season training program. And you have guys like that, and you have maybe some guys that did not necessarily take that approach. And going back to Kopech, he got sick. He had COVID for a second time. That was, we thought in the beginning of the year, but actually talking to Michael, he said it was late February. So it was right before things got going a couple of weeks ago. So that set him back, and he was, I think ready to get going. And then when he had COVID, he was sick for a few days. And
you got to monitor that too, because you knows how the yo-yo.
Yeah, he had some nasal congestion that he clearly was still having some side effects a couple weeks after. So they're really being extra cautious with a guy like Kopech, who he has maxed out, Shawn, at 134 innings, I believe. And that was in the minor leagues in 2017. That's his full season high for innings pitched. So if you're expecting him to be in the rotation all year, maybe 50 innings is kind of where I see the cap. So in one sense, keeping him maybe on the 3, 4, 5 innings to start April might not be the worst thing, because you can build up for the rest of the season and have him ready to go in September and hopefully October. So something to look at, especially on the White Sox side, just because they're the team that is obviously the team that is looking towards the postseason this year. We talked about the Cubs being in that kind of weird rebuild, retool stage. I think they'll be competitive if they can stay healthy. If guys like Patrick Wisdom and Frank the Tank Schwindel can prove that last year was not an anomaly. And if a guy like Seiya Suzuki, that is good. Was that, what character was that from? That's so funny, because
I don't know, but Ivan finds all those crazy things. That's awesome.
I think it was like, wasn't it Wallace? And I'll find it.
Yeah, that's good. But anyway, the Cubs obviously have much lower of a floor. I think the White Sox are truly in their window. And I know for you, Shawn, you've probably talked about it ad nauseum, how maybe disappointing this offseason feels, because they haven't gone out and got a bunch of guys that were on the offseason checklist to White Sox fans. But I still, it's overblown when you look at just the whole of this team and how talented they are, especially that starting lineup if they stay healthy. And we'll see. I still like this White Sox team to be the AL Central and potentially go back to the playoffs in the World Series. So he says it's Wallace and
Grobit.
Yeah.
Okay,
there you go.
Real quick for the White Sox before we turn to Bears, I am disappointed because a couple of things. One, I want to see how Harris does. I'm okay with the right field. I'm cool with the right field. And I like the platoon. Okay. I'm not really caring about Blake Sear, the guy they just signed yesterday. That's fine, whatever. But give me Sheets, give me Vaughn, give me Adam Engel. Those guys can cover right field, lefty righty matchup if you want. Obviously Engel late inning defensive replacement. We got it. I've always said put Engel in right center, put Lubob in left center, just play with 2 outfielders and have a short center for like softball, because those guys could cover ground. But for me, my issue is the second baseman. Can Harrison play a solid defensive thing. I don't care what sport you are. If you don't play good defense, you will not win. Okay, you will not win. You can't outscore people all the time. And if you look at the Achilles heel for the White Sox, they had poor catching last year with Yaz. Yaz couldn't throw anybody out to save his life. Okay, the middle infielder at times, Tim Anderson is getting better, and I think he's an above average shortstop now, but he's not a Gold Glove winning shortstop. We don't have a Gold Glove second baseman. We got a Gold Glove center fielder, but up the middle, if your defense is weak up the middle, you're going to have a lot of problems as seen last year, and we haven't addressed that. And that's my only cause for concern is that we haven't addressed the backup catcher, a defensive catcher, and the second baseman. Harrison might turn out to be okay. He might, but we don't know. And that's the one thing is this defense, man. You got to be able to stop runners. You got to be able to throw runners out. You got to be able to turn double plays when they present themselves, because they may not present themselves later in the year when you need them, when you want them. So I'm a little concerned about that. And I want a starting pitcher, or like you go out and you say, okay, we're giving him 3 years, 85, 90 million. So when he steps in the clubhouse, everybody knows he gets the ball out. This dude's getting the ball in a 1-game playoff. I need that type of starter to push everybody down a spot, take a lot of pressure off of everybody, so that's my wish list for my White Sox. We'll see if it comes to fruition. Then I'll be a lot more relaxed.
Yeah, all good points. I get it. And, on one hand, you have a team that's spending more money than it's ever spent, right? I think $180 million payroll versus I think their max previously were around 120, 130. So they have invested in this team. But on the other hand, they came in, like you said, with a checklist. All right, we need a right fielder. We need a second baseman. We need some starting depth. We need a backup catcher. And they didn't really address any of those deficiencies. And maybe deficiencies is a little bit of a harsh term, but weaknesses and holes. And again, you're talking about a team that won 90-plus games, won the AL Central, obviously disappointed in the postseason. So you're nitpicking when it comes to the holes, but there are some. And I think the White Sox fans in general would have been a lot happier if you said, all right, we're going to devote our resources, spend it on the second base hole or the right field hole and go and get a guy. Then we'll piecemeal the rest. And instead they kind of did the latter and
piecemeal
forgot
everything.
about going and spending. And maybe, Shawn, my inclination is that they really thought they were going to trade Craig Kimbrell. And Craig said when we talked to him this offseason that it seemed like it was headed that way before the lockout, and then obviously everything stalled. So maybe they were close and they were going to get a second baseman, or they were going to get a right fielder or a starting pitcher. Who knows what was going to be on the other end of that return. Right. But at the very least, they cleared $16 million, and they can go and use that to go pay Michael Conforto or pay someone else. I would have loved for them to get really creative. You mentioned the infield defense. Second base was weak in terms of the free agent class. You know what it wasn't? Shortstop. Why not slide Tim Anderson over to second base, or keep him there and go sign Trevor Story like the Red Sox did and put him at second base, or Simeon, or Carlos Correa. There's so many options they could have went with, and then you get creative with your infield. It's never a bad thing to go get an extra all-star player on the field and figure it out later. That's Tony La Russa's job, right? Where do guys play? He's already mixing, matching so many of the pieces. So that would have been the creative way the White Sox could have really dominated this offseason. And instead, Correa hanging around, and he goes to your division rival, Minnesota, on a very creative contract. It's basically a one deal for $34 million with opt-outs. So he's a hired gun from Minnesota. Could be a guy they trade this middle of the season if they're not
right for draft picks and for prospects and things like that. You just want to rebuild. That's their way. They draft, they get prospects. That's the way Minnesota's been, and then they all come back to haunt us on the south side. Well, let's switch gears a little bit. Let's talk from the little Bears and the Cubs to the big Bears. Give me your thoughts, Ryan Poles. We're not used to, as Bear fans, people doing what they say they're going to do. And he's done exactly what he said he's going to do. He said he's not going to divert a whole bunch of resources to one player. He's going to be very frugal with the money. He has been. He's lived up to it, and Bear fans, we can't accept it because we're used to being lied to. So give me your thoughts about Ryan Poles and what he's done, bringing in Dakota, bringing in Lucas, bringing in Blazing Gain. I want to ask you about him later, but bringing in Morrow. Talk to me about the signings of his free agent signings to this point.
It's funny, we got a quote from George McCaskey yesterday at the owners' meetings, and I'm paraphrasing, but he basically said that he was happy with Ryan Poles' fiscal responsibility this offseason. So again, you're the owner of the team, and you're saying, good job not spending my money, which Bears fans probably don't want it, obviously. But in a way, Shawn, I think you're right that Ryan Poles, and let's face it, they did give out a $40+ million contract and ended up getting rescinded because Ogunjobi failed his physical. So they were going to spend that money, and they kind of, and Poles acknowledged this, they kind of lost out on 3 days in between the verbal agreements and the failed physical. And so they could have, if they would have known that Ogunjobi's, what was it, his ankle, his knee? No,
I want to say his foot. I want to say it was his foot.
If his foot was obviously not fully healed, then they would have went a different direction. So instead, they were losing about 3-4 days in between, and by that time, they had to settle for these 1-year contracts to fill the gaps. So, I was looking back at Ryan Pace's first offseason, and here's some throwback names, Shawn, that he spent some big money on. How about Pernell McPhee?
Yeah.
5-year contract. 5-year contract. Antrell Roll got a 3-year deal. Royal got a 3-year deal. So he did spend money on, in particular, those 3 guys, 3 contracts of 3 years. And then the rest were kind of 1-year fillers and trying to build up through the draft, which, of course, he took Kevin White with his first-round pick. So Ryan Poles is not of a first-round pick. He knows that this is a team that's not going to magically better right away. He's taking the long approach, and that's, in one hand, it's probably the right thing to do with this roster. But on the other, you have a rookie quarterback who needs to show improvement right away. And you really surrounded him with a whole lot of talent. And what's the most valuable thing in the NFL is that rookie scale quarterback contract. And so you're basically saying, all right, the first 2 years of Justin Fields are going to be a wash in terms of the team. I don't think anybody expects the Bears to be a playoff team next season. Even if Fields takes market improvements, you look at this defense, they have 2 guys who can play in the second right now, basically, and that's including Eddie Jackson. If he makes a step up, you're relying a lot on Matt Eberflus to improve this defense with his new scheme. And trade Khalil Mack. You're probably going to deal Robert Quinn. And basically you cut Eddie Goldman. Bilal Nichols signs elsewhere. You lose a lot of your talent on defense. It's basically Jalen Jackson, Roquan Smith, and hopefully Eddie Jackson coming back. And then offensively, you have Darnell Mooney and David Montgomery along with Justin Fields. And you mentioned some guys that they picked up in the offensive line. Would have been really nice to get Ryan Bates from Buffalo. But another thing that went against the Bears, they signed him to a contract they felt like was going to be good enough to not have Buffalo match, and Buffalo matches. So you lose out on him, you lose out on Ogunjobi. Overall, it's been probably a tougher offseason than Poles would have liked. There's still time, and we'll see what happens in the draft, obviously. But you look at this roster, and it's not too exciting from a talent standpoint.
One of the things I look at is, everyone's talking about, even Lucas was talking about, you got to, fit a certain, as an offensive lineman, there's a body composition that they want. We still don't know what we have in Larry Borom and Tevin Jenkins. We do know that there's some maulers. We do know that they like to move people. But and that, to me, the thing with those two is this: let them run the ball. And I've said this, if you run the ball and you keep a defense honest, you can't. And I've said this ad nauseum, but there's an old saying that you have to earn the right to rush the passer. And if you're able to run the ball, and remember, Eberflus is coming from Indy, where they had some guy named Jonathan something or other who just led the league in rushing. So they're going to be able to run the ball, which is going to allow Justin Fields to develop, because you cannot come after the quarterback if they're gashing. So I think that's going to help those two. Don't get me wrong. I want competition. I want a more offensive lineman, because competition brings the best out. But we truly don't know what we have in Tevin Jenkins and Larry Borom. Despite the rumors that they weren't a big fan of Larry Borom for whatever reason. I think just give those guys a shot. Give them a chance to change their body composition. If this is what what Coach E wants and Getsy wants, if you give them a chance and see what they got, because in a run game, they're good. They like to move people. And I think you're gonna have to see a bigger commitment to the run this year than the last regime ever thought of.
Yeah, and great point, Jonathan Taylor leading the league in rushing on an Indianapolis team that, granted, let's face it, was not Matt Eberflus. Matt Eberflus was the defensive coordinator, and yet he come from that system. He saw what Frank Reich was able to do with the offense, and I think he can take that approach. And the better comparison is what does Green Bay look like the last couple of years? Because Luke Getsy is coming from that system. Then you can easily say, oh, you have Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams. That's what else do you need? But he was able to utilize not one but two running backs pretty well.
Yes,
Aaron and AJ Dillon, and also out of the backfield as pass catchers too. So I think we're going to get creative with that. You have to kind of replace that Tariq Cohen role, which you really haven't done in a couple of seasons now. Cordell Patterson, of course, breaks out with Atlanta. He would have been perfect in that role. He was just not used properly here under Matt Nagy. But if you can get a guy who can be a pace running back to go with David Montgomery, who I really like, then I think you see some more creativity from this offense. And let's get Justin Fields out of the pocket, right? How many times did we talk putting him on the run, seeing what he can do with his natural athleticism? And, the play he had against San Francisco obviously comes to mind immediately with just his natural skill in escaping the pocket. And that's probably a once in a season type of play, if that. But you give him more opportunities to make things happen within the offense as he continues to grow. You should see a pretty good leap from him in year two, but you got to keep him up. And that offensive line is still a concern. You mentioned those names. We don't know what we got in Larry Borum and Tevin Pickens, but I would like to see at least them play a little bit more. And Tevin's got to stay healthy and figure out who's on the right, who's on the left side. And if it doesn't work out, then you know what you have at least. But I think, to me, I would start them to open the season and figure out if there are long tackles in this league. And maybe one of them is, maybe both of them are, maybe neither. But if you're really at stage, Shawn, where you're building for the future, you got to find out if these young guys can be part of that.
And that's what the last regime, and that's why I don't want to say his name, but the last regime, I know Jason Peters did well, and he did a more than admirable, above average, but he wasn't part of the future. All right, those two needed to be out there the last couple games, so you saw what you had. And another way that I believe he sabotaged us. So that last regime was, thank God they're good and they're gone. Happy with the new guy. Then the last question before we let you go is Blazing Game. I'm telling you, I am so fired up about this guy. And I know it's just a fullback, but this dude, looking at the way he was lead blocker for Derrick Henry when he had his two stacks, 2,000 yards. But this guy was a tailback. He's about 240 pounds who can move. And you saw the way. Talk to me about what kind of weapon this is going to be, because you know who it reminds me of a faster Rathman.
Faster who?
Tom Rathman from back in the Niner days.
That predates me. I'm not sure. I'm not sure that reference. I'll be honest.
Tom Rathman and Roger Craig were the 1-2 punch for the Niners back in the day, and Rathman was put it this way: Mike Allstott was the second coming of Tom Rathman. So this guy was it was 6'3", 6'4", like 230, 240. But I've been watching film with him, to get him out of first of all, he blocks because he's a fullback, so he has no problem sticking his face in there. Secondly, out of the backfield, he's phenomenal. He runs the ball because he was a tailback, I guess, in college. He got to the league. They put a little more meat on him. He's a fullback, catches the ball at the backfield, and can go. He might not break it all the way, but he runs about a 4.5 at 235, 240 pounds. So this, when you see stuff like this, I'm excited because the weapons that we have, and we talked about getting, earning the right to rush the passer. You start running the ball, and all of a sudden now you play action and you sneak him out of the backfield. Defensive linemen are going to be kept honest, and that's one thing that they hate doing is not knowing what happens. So on, obviously 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9, you're passing, but 2nd and 3, you don't know what you're going to do. You don't know if they're going to run it because, for us, it was just shotgun and let's sit back and heave it 40 yards. You only needed 2 yards. So I'm excited about this, man. It's going to be pretty interesting. I just want to see more offensive line depth and competition. And the last question before I let you go, who would you be your first pick in the second round? Who would you be your first pick for the Bears? Wide receiver or O-lineman or corner? Some people will say they may need a corner.
Yeah. I know it's a very deep wide receiver draft. So I think I would take a wideout with one of my 2 picks. It doesn't necessarily have to be that first one. I think like I mentioned, Darnell Mooney is really the only guy you have right there. Byron Pringle, a player who had a very limited role in that Kansas City offense because it was very top heavy with Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, even Mecole Hardman. He was kind of the 4th or 5th option, but made some plays and was open for Patrick Mahomes, where you feel like, all right, if he can be now a number 2 in your offense, he can be decent, but he's still more of an unknown. So I would like to see the Bears invest a little bit more in that wideout position. Now they got very, very nice return with Darnell Mooney in the 5th round a couple years ago. So it doesn't have to be necessarily a second pick, but I would go wide receiver and probably offensive line, Shawn.
Me too. Definitely wide receiver, that first pick, the first second rounder. I don't know if I want to reach for, like, I'm a Christian Watson guy. I've been watching a lot of tape from him from North Dakota State, but you also got Pickens from Georgia, Olave, and from Ohio State. I know he just ran himself out of the second round. He's strictly first rounder. You got the 2 guys from Alabama, Williams and so there's definitely a deep wide receiver class, and we should get one. We should get one good one, and I think that is going to go a long way as well. And it's so cool to finally have to be able to say we got our quarterback, because that's the one thing we haven't had in a while. We got our quarterback. Now let's just go get him some weapons, because this dude, I don't subscribe to the fact that he's a bust or he's this dude. You look at the level he played in college, the things that he did, even some of the throws here. That one last year where he's rolling to the left and side arms it to the right for Jesse James. It gets it underneath the defender's arm. Like, you can't teach that, dude. Like, that is innate. This guy has unbelievable talent. Now you just got to get him some more toys. And one of the things that I was really happy about was Jesper Horsted. I know he's not a big name. I know he's a nobody, but him and Justin Fields have a relationship. They have a chemistry, and he might come up with a quick 3 to 5 touchdowns this year in key moments. And that's all you ask for, is guys that he feels comfortable with. So looking forward to this season. Bears are 24/7, 365 in this town, and I just want to see how everything else plays out. Hey, Josh, thanks, buddy. I appreciate it. Do me a favor, let everyone know where they can find you and your work online and on TV.
Yeah, I always appreciate it, Shawn. On Twitter, Josh_Frydman. Instagram, Facebook, Josh Frydman as well. And GN Sports, that's at GN Sports TV. So give a follow there on our social. Beyond Tonight with Dan Roan, 10:30 every night, the show. And then throughout the newscast on WGN as well, Channel 9. So 10.
Great, buddy. I appreciate it. Thank you.
See you, Shawn.
All righty. Guys, that was Josh Frydman from GN Sports, talking Cubs, talking White Sox, talking Bears. Good stuff with our guy, Josh. Appreciate it. Great stuff. God bless it. The Bears season cannot come fast enough. Give me one more free agent, dude. Give me one more. And you know what? I didn't even get to ask him, because there's still a possibility that we can go get a Ogunjobi. There's a possibility. It would be at a reduced rate. The contract wouldn't be as big, so the risk wouldn't be as high. But we'll see. We will see. The draft is coming up next month. Who do you get? All right, is it Mechie? Is it Williams from Alabama? Is it Pickens from Georgia? Is it Olave from Ohio State? Is it Jahan Dotson from Penn State? David Bell from Purdue? Who do you get? There's so many good receivers. And listen, every time I see that someone picks a lineman, I'm going to be ecstatic. Anytime I see someone get an end rusher, a rusher, I'm ecstatic. Anytime I see someone pick a DB, I'm ecstatic. Anytime I see, and there's going to be a couple quarterbacks, you take a quarterback, I'm ecstatic. The more non-wide receivers that are taken, the bigger the pool is for us. And I just hope we get a good one. Obviously Chris Olave would be a high choice for many Bear fans because of his relationship with Justin Fields, but it doesn't mean a Mechie or a Williams or a Pickens couldn't build a relationship similar to that of Olave and Fields. Get us a nice size receiver. Get us, you can't wear number 1 because that's Justin Fields, but give me a wide receiver with number 2. That's a dope, or number 3. Give me or number 7. Something tall. Darnell Mooney's 11. But those numbers, dude, I'm excited for the draft. I'm excited to see how free agency continues to play out. And just be patient, guys. Be patient. Be patient. It's going to work out. It's going to work out. We're going to be on top a lot sooner than most people think. Because I'm looking at Justin Fields' 4th year or his 5th year option, which I know they're going to pick up. So in the next 4 years, the Bears will be a serious contender, a serious Super Bowl contender. And if you can win it in Justin Fields' 4th year or his 5th year when they pick up his rookie option, man, now you're playing with house money, because now you can give him a contract, because you'll have a lot of these guys, some of these guys under rookie contracts. That's what you want. That's what you want. Well, listen, we got to take a quick break, and on the other side of the break is the last break of the show, last break of the day. Ooh-wee. All right. We got more sports conversation. Don't go anywhere, folks. Keep it locked right here. Shawn and Maya in the morning on Sports Zone Chicago.
AutomotiveMap.com presents the Sports Flash on the Sports Zone Chicago. After losing to the Knicks on Monday night at Madison Square Garden, the Bulls rebounded with a 107-94 win over the Wizards in Washington. DeMar DeRozan had 32 points, Nikola Vukovic with 27, Zach LaVine with 14 points. The Bulls are 44-32 with the win. They went 2-3 on their 5-game road trip. They're back home this Thursday night hosting the LA Clippers. Then on Saturday, big matchup with the Eastern Conference leading Miami Heat. Chicago's 5th in the East, 4 games out of first place. The Blackhawks are winless in 2. They're on the road visiting Florida this Thursday night. After that, they'll head to Tampa on Friday before returning home Sunday against the Arizona Coyotes. The Bears have signed quarterback Trevor Siemian to a 2-year contract. GM Ryan Poles said that Siemian will back up Justin Fields and that he intends to trade Nick Foles. For lightning fast sports updates, download the Score app. It's free and one of the most popular sports apps in North America. I'm Chuck Sanders. That's the Sports Flash on the Sports Zone Chicago.
Welcome to Allstate, where you can save just by being you. DriveWise in the Allstate mobile app gives you personalized driving feedback, and by adding it to your policy, you can save for driving safe just by being yourself. Allstate. Here, better protection costs a whole lot less. You're in good hands with Allstate. Click, call, or visit allstate.com to save today.
Not available in every state. Savings based on DriveWise and other safe driving discounts. Savings vary. Subject to terms and conditions. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
This is a metaphor for your business's journey. Sometimes it feels like the world is throwing everything it has at you. And to succeed, you need someone to guide you through. That's what Dell Technologies advisors do. They have the Windows PCs and tech advice to help you navigate whatever challenges you're up against and get you safely to where you want to be. Call an advisor today at 877-ASK-DELL. That's 877-ASK-DELL. A start to a simpler experience with Windows 11 Pro.
Welcome back to Shawn and Maya in the morning at Sports Zone Chicago. Just got done with Josh Frydman from GN Sports. Great segment. If you didn't catch it or you caught only part of it, make sure you go back and check it out. We'll try to have that. We'll have that cut up for you and post it on Sports Zone Chicago on our social media pages. Great interview. I wouldn't even say interview, just conversation. Okay, with Josh. Dealt with the Cubs. It's going to be a rough season, but there is still a chance. There's an extra playoff spot, so the Cubs could somehow, some way, make it to the playoffs. And I think that would go a long way for Grandpa Rossi if he's able to get these Cubs into that last playoff spot. With maybe a 500 record. Let's not get it twisted. They're not going to win the World Series this year, but being competitive, that's a great start, and that's really going to show the guts and the mettle that David Ross has and his managing ability. Okay, you get a team like that's not expected to compete. You get them into the playoffs, even if it's an extra playoff spot that was just added. Playoffs are the playoffs. We're going to see where he stands. He talked a little White Sox with us. I'm talking, pardon me, I'm talking Josh Frydman, talked White Sox with us. And to me, I'm not worried about right field. Okay. synopsis. I'm not worried about right field. I am worried about defensively, up the middle, second baseman, backup catcher, defensive catcher. That's what I'm worried about. You stay weak up the middle. We didn't address that. It's not going to change. And you put lipstick on a pig. It's still a pig. And the White Sox defense last year was poor, except for up the middle, except for Lewis Robert. It was poor. It was poor. It was poor. You're not going to win if you're poor defensively. Okay. Look at the Cubs in 2016. They had one of the first of all, their entire infield started in the All-Star game. Secondly, they had the best infield defense in the National League. I don't know if it was the majors, but definitely, but for sure, they had the best infield defense in the National League. You cannot give teams runs. You can't. You can't give them extra outs. You can't give them runs. You just can't. And the White Sox did a poor job of that last year. And without that changing, the only way that doesn't affect you is if Lou Bob has an MVP season. Tim Anderson goes back to leading the league or close to leading the league in hitting and possible MVP. Jose Abreu plays Jose Abreu. Okay, Eloy Jimenez is on an MVP pace. Yohan Moncada comes out and decides he wants to knock the ball everywhere he can inside the park with a few outside of the park, and he has Manny Grandal. That's the only way he's going to outscore people. And even at that point, I don't trust that outscoring method. I don't trust it in the playoffs. I just don't. Because at that particular point, remember, we talked about with Josh, pitchers you may see a lot of 3-4 inning outings for pitchers. Okay, maybe 4+ innings, and then hit the bullpen, because you do not want to put your pitchers at risk. The professional pitchers haven't had the warm-up time, and maybe guys. Remember, I was asking that at one point when the lockout was going on in February. I said, have guys, 6 or 8 or 10 guys say, hey, listen, there's a lot of junior colleges in and around in Arizona, a lot of high schools. Do you go colleges, junior colleges, universities? You go, you rent the field, 10 guys, 12 guys, 15 guys say, hey, can we rent the field for 4 hours? Pitchers do their work, catchers do their work, infield. And if you're in Arizona, it's desert. So most of those big-time programs, the Arizona States, okay, they might have practice fields. They might have infield infield field only. Who knows what they have? They have a lot of land. So remember I was asking that at one point, like, are players out there just doing their thing? Because if they are, then it'll be a little easier to transition to win, to keep your body's clock on time. So, and I don't know. I wasn't out there. I don't have access to the players. I'm not going to call some of the guys up and say, hey, were you out there? But I assume, and that, according to Josh, a lot of players did that, which was smart, which was very, very smart. We talked Bears, and one thing that's underlying in this thing, two things. Coach Flus, Coach E. I'm excited about this dude. I really am. I think he brings a breath of fresh air with him. I think he brings a reputation of accountability, of playing the game the right way, and not, I've heard a lot of people, and it kind of annoyed me, okay, because people who haven't played the game, and they're like, oh, he's very coachy, he's very this, he got the hits thing, he's got this, how cute. Well, first of all, fuck you, because you don't know how to, you've never played the game, so don't talk shit about stuff you don't know. But the thing about it is, like, you bitched about accountability. Well, he's giving you accountability. In the HITS acronym is accountability. All right, we're gonna hustle. Hustle. Okay? Intensity, speed. All right. These are all things, and he counts loafs. He's showing you. There's an old saying from the poet laureate Maya Angelou. When people show you who they are the first time, believe them. Believe them. And we're watching. Coach Eberflus didn't show us who he is yet. He's talking a good game. Okay. But if you go back in his history and you go back and watch film on him in practice, him, hyping up the defense, you're like, okay, this is what this guy's about. So when he comes here, he benches an Eddie Jackson, or he benches a Jalen Johnson, or he benches a Roquan Smith, or he benches a Nick Morrow who they just picked up, or he benches because I highly doubt he's going to bench Justin Fields. Maybe take him out for a play or two, or maybe talk to him on the sideline, but I don't think he's taking out Justin Fields. Just keeping it real. When he does that, then you'll be like, oh shit, this guy's for real. And I understand that there's a lot of politics involved, but this guy is giving you what we've asked for. And like a lot of times women they can't deal with what they want because they've never got it before. They don't know they can't deal with a guy who treats them well because they've never been treated well. We haven't been treated well in a long time. Okay? We're bitching and moaning about accountability, and then he's going to give us accountability. He's showing you right there from the hits thing. This is what he demands. Not asks, demands. We already had AQM, Al-Qadim Muhammad, say, I had to change my mindset because I wasn't going to play. I wasn't going to play. There's history of him holding players accountable. Now, as a head coach, can he do it? Can he do it when he's the head man in charge? Can he do it? Can he do it to a superstar who doesn't hustle? Can he do it to Eddie Jackson, to Jalen Johnson? Can he do it to a Justin Fields? I would just say pull him out, bench him for a play or two. But can he do that? Will he do that? Because I'll tell you what, Ivan, if that son of a bitch pulls Justin Fields because he does something stupid to rip his ass and then get him back on the field, he will have the utmost respect from me. Or maybe if he doesn't pull him, if he goes over to the sideline after the series and yells at him or he rips into him, and I'll tell you what, he will have the utmost respect from me because that's what a coach does. I don't care if you're getting paid $37 trillion. If you screw up, you screw up, and I need to let you know about it. I don't care if you're an undrafted free agent. If you screw up, and I'm going to let you know about it. Okay? Jimmy Johnson always said this, I treat every one of my players fairly. I don't treat them equally. So Justin's not getting pulled for the rest of the game. We know that. But he might get pulled for a play, or he might get his ass chewed out on the sideline.
Yeah, I would go along the lines of that. Justin ain't getting pulled. Like, hey, from here on out, barring, God, please, anything, Justin's going to be in the ball game throughout. But to your point, the comparison to Lovie Smith, I believe it's real. Lovie's pretty much likes what he sees. He said it himself, when asked. But what did Lovie do? Lovie didn't do all that. Lovie wasn't he would go ahead and if he had to on the sideline, he'd go ahead and address an issue. But he wouldn't go ahead and chew your ass out on the sideline. He'd handle that in the locker room. So although you're absolutely correct, I think that'll be handled out in the locker room. But if he has to address something, I don't think Matt Eberflus is that type of coach where he'll because you're a superstar or you think you're a superstar or you're whatever you think in your mind. I think Matt Eberflus is a team first type of guy. Nobody's ego is going to take precedent to what the team's goal is.
Yeah, we've seen, but you've seen, I agree. Lovey's more of a behind closed doors kind of a guy, and we've heard Peanut Tillman, we've heard Alex Brown, like, oh yeah, Lovey chewed us out. Lovey wasn't so nice, wasn't so soft spoken in the locker room when, in that Cardinal game, okay, in a couple of the other games, Lovey was a football coach. Okay, and this is how alpha males speak to each other, and without each other's feelings getting hurt. I think if a Coach Eberflus, and I don't. Here's the thing. I'm not hoping he pulls Justin Fields. I'm not. Okay, but if he has to, because what that, and he only has to do it once. You know it as well as I do. It only has to happen once. Pull him to the side, and you don't even have to chew his ass out, because the message and the ripple effect that'll have through the team is paramount. If he pulls him out for one play or two plays and says, "Hey, listen, you're making bad reads. You're doing this," people can be like, "Damn, he just pulled out our starting quarterback, Trevor Siemian, the guy we just signed. Get your ass in there. Hand the ball off 2 plays." I don't trust you throwing shit. Hand the ball off 2 plays. But him taking Justin Fields out, it puts everybody on a pretty level playing field. If he pulls out our starting quarterback, what's he going to do to me if I'm not living up to, if I'm not into this hits theory or mentality? Because that's who you attack. You go after the star player. And it's not necessarily a bad thing, but it'll put Justin on notice, and it'll put everybody else on notice as well. So, again, I hope it doesn't happen. I hope it doesn't. But if there comes a point in time where Justin's having a bad game and Justin's doing this, you pull him. Is that going to be okay? Can he do that? We're going to find out. We're going to find out. Man, 3 hours has come and gone. What a phenomenal show. I want to thank my guests for tuning in today. Well, first, Joseph Phillips for joining us in the top of the morning segment. I want to thank Adam Chalifoux from the Running with the Bulls podcast, talking Bulls with us today. Great segment. I want to thank Josh Frydman from WGN Sports, GN Sports, for joining us, talking. Man, that's why. See, when told you guys that I love, like Josh is one of those guys that I love talking, because we could talk Cubs, Sox, we could talk baseball, we could talk Bulls, we could talk Blackhawks, we could talk Bears. Like, those conversations go longer because we could talk everything. And Josh, was very gracious with his time today. Talk Sox, talk mostly Cubs, talk Bears at the end. Great stuff. Definitely want to thank those guys, Josh Frydman and Adam Chalifoux, for coming on, making this show awesome. Want to thank my guy Ivan over here for keeping everything running smoothly. This was a great show. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys for your comments, your questions. We had Armando Lara Jr., Leo Factor 1. Thank you very much. You're newer person that
Factor 1's been here for a minute.
Oh, is that because it was Factor 1?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. You got a brother Factor 1? Is this the brother of Factor 1?
Yeah, because Factor 1.
Is this Factor 2?
Well, this is Leo. Because remember, it used to be a Factor 1. I don't know if it's Leo not Factor 1. That's why it was just a different name. Obviously, Armando Lara Jr., Cornelius, Squalls, Devon Hicks. Who else? Other people. Hassem in the house. Vernon Fairley, Marshawn Walls. All a lot of the usual suspects. Thanks for tuning in. We appreciate the love and the support. No Second City Sports today. They're only on Monday and Friday. No, it's just me. He just added Leo. Okay. Good looking out. Okay. But you know what? I also want to thank Elliot Baez, our executive producer, Clarence Counselor, our social media guy, my co-host and obsession, Maya Kai. And as I said, I can't do this without my man, Ivan Vargas. All of us together were able to put on a good show and a very entertaining show. And again, you guys contributed to that as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a 45-hour break. On the other side of the break, we'll see you on Friday, 9 a.m. to noon Central Standard Time. We got more NCAA to talk. Coach K on Monday will be the national championship game. Will he be in it, or will he exit in the Final Four? It's going to be a great game on Saturday. North Carolina and Duke. We got hopefully more Bears news to talk about. More Cubs and Sox to talk about as spring training is winding down. Next week is opening day, if I'm not mistaken. Wow, it happened so fast.
I'll be there.
Yeah, I'm going to the Sox home opener on the 13th.
Is that? Oh yeah, you guys are away for. Yeah,
they should just start. They should just start the northern teams, unless you got a dome, start us on a 2-week road trip. You know what I mean? Like just send us to, so the Cubs could start in Milwaukee. You know what I mean? Because you're close to home. It's indoor. You know, send the Sox to Texas, Tampa. Anaheim. Hell, Arizona. Get some interleague games out of the way. You can send all those northern teams down south unless you got a dome, man. Come on, it's not. Because those games you don't have to worry about cancellations and postponements and all this other nonsense. Just do it right, Major League Baseball. Come on. But yeah, I'll be at the White Sox home opener, and I'm fired up about it too.
Oh, but just fully be prepared for it to be cold. I mean, you can't just have that cold mentality, just so you can shake it from your mind when you're there. Because I'm pretty sure it's going to be a little bluster.
Well, we don't know because it's been everywhere from 60, 70 degrees all the way to snow and everything in between on the last 7, 8 opening days. So that we were allowed to go to, I should say. So that's the last 10 years. So who knows what this. So here's the thing. Pack accordingly. Okay. Pack, in Chicago, we layer, make sure you got, a cold gear stuff on, a base layer, then maybe a little fleece to go over that. And then a nice little thinner, down jacket. All right, so you're not bulky. You got to have your gloves. You have your hats. The hats that have the wool on the inside. They're lined on the inside. Okay, or it might be sunny. It might be like today was 70 or 65. A little rainy. All right, but it could be a 65, 70-degree day, sunny, sunglasses, baseball hat. Who knows? And the sunscreen. All that's got to be in your car. All that's got to be in your trunk or the back seat, depending on how many people you go with. All that's got to be in the car, so you know how to dress accordingly. You might have shorts, or you bring your romper. You can bring your romper if you want. Who knows? Bring your heavy socks if it's going to be cold. Bring your ankle socks if it's going to be warm with your nice Air Force Ones or your new shoes that match your team colors. Whatever. All that's got to be in the car. Okay. You just get a big duffel bag, and if it's here, if it's cold, I got this. If it's warm, I got this. It's just like that. All right, guys, we're out of here. Again, thank you for tuning in. Make sure you follow Sports Zone Chicago on all social media platforms, on Facebook, on YouTube, and on Instagram. We are at Sports Zone Chicago. On Twitter, we are at Sports Zone Chi. Please do that. Please smash the like button. Tell your family, tell your friends. What do we got tonight, Ivan?
Sports 101 with Jamar Harp at 8 o'clock.
There it is, Sports 101. So make sure you tune in to that tonight. So for Elliot, for Clarence, for Maya, for my guy Ivan Vargas.
Peace.
I'm your boy, the Superback, Shawn Sierra. See you in 45 hours. Deuces.